All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fast Freddie Rocks Youngstown, coming to you live and direct from the state-of-the-art Youngstown studios in beautiful downtown Youngstown. And I think we have a real show tonight. We actually have some legitimate guests with us here today.
I'll go that far, but
come on. Two of my good friends here. We got Ken Haidaris, who's going to talk about everything downtown Warren. Ken is with the Sunrise, of course, and River Rock at the Amp, the Robbins Theater. You are Mr. Warren. And
I don't know about that, but there's a lot that goes on, you know.
And, of course, we got our buddy Rama, who just finished up another brand new album. And Rama seems to be on a roll, so we're going to talk about his music and what he's got going on and where he's playing and all kinds of stuff. So cool. Let's just sit back and relax here. And we got a lot of good conversation coming up because I think everybody here has a lot to say. And I don't think anybody's going to be at a loss.
I got you live on Facebook too here. So we're going to do
I like it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
I better log in too.
So what's the language code here?
Well, there's none.
Okay, not that I want to do that, but sometimes things.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes things happen, you know.
Yeah, exactly. No, this isn't. We don't have too many rules here. Let me.
I don't like rules.
We're all gonna. Let me get hooked up here.
We're all gonna stream at the same time.
And then we'll get going. So why don't we start off with you, Ken? Of course, you're the man behind Robbins Theater and River Rock at the Amp, the Sunrise institution in Warren. So what do you got going on? Let's talk about the music scene first. What's coming up? I know we got some good stuff coming to Robbins.
We have Straight No Chaser coming up. Oh, God, you put me on usually I look at my phone, but I'm broadcasting.
Right. Well, you know what? Let me look it up.
We have a great weekend coming up.
We got Pat Travers not too far off.
Boom, boom, out goes the lights.
Yeah.
Straight No Chaser, and there's another show there, too. We just got a bunch of stuff we announced. What did we announce today? Man, we just got so much stuff coming down the pipeline. Yeah, we're going to announce Tommy James and the Shondells. That's next week. But Sean Cassidy, which I cannot believe the excitement for Sean Cassidy. I mean, Tommy James, when we first booked him, I'm like, I don't know about that. And the guy says 15 top 40 hits, and he has his own podcast radio called Sirius. Yeah. So every Sunday he would do the show. Next thing you know, you see ticket sales spike and it's sold out. We could have sold that out again.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's a guy that has a lot of followers that are willing to travel.
And that the social media does that. People follow a band and hey, we're from Indianapolis, we're from here. We had some lady come from Mickey Dolenz from St. Louis, Missouri. She drove like all day to get there. I was really surprised.
Yeah, that's really cool too. With a lot of those bands, I know with Justin Haywood and Dave Mason and people like that. Yeah. There were people from all over the place. We're sitting across the street over at the Horseshoe, and there was people in there going, "Hey, we're from here, we're from there," and you got the hotel right downtown. I mean, it is such a great setup.
Downtown Warren is much different than it was 15 years ago when the Amp, when Marty Cohen and myself took over the Amp. A gentleman named Walt English passed away, and downtown Warren was empty. I mean, it really was. There was a lot of storefronts empty, and then there was a lot of development. We have condos down there. There's entertainment. Entertainment is we're doing Menopause. We announced That's what we announced. We announced Menopause at Packard Music Hall today. We're doing that in November. So, everybody should say there's nothing to do. Nobody can say that anymore. Cavelli does an incredible job. Packard, the Robbins, Powers. We just did Stomp at Powers. It's great because you got to have quality of life for people.
And speaking of Packard, so this is our 7th year. Wolfstock, Wolfstock, right? We have Wolfstock, so we're moving Wolfstock this year to Packard, which we're super excited about. That's on August 9th.
Where was it at before?
It was in Tiffany Manor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sold. I think that sold.
That did sell. Yeah. So we have a great band called Fantastic Cat coming in. Fantastic Cat. Yep. Friend Dr. Sue, as you know.
She's a veterinarian, Sue Wilcox, and
I almost made a dirty remark about cats. And then when you told me, it's like I shut up.
Well, you're allowed.
No, but I don't know her, and I don't want to offend. Not that I haven't offended people before.
Yeah, so Dr. Sue, it's for spay and neuter, and it also helps smaller independent animal shelters and things like that.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
it is a great time, and the silent auction that she has there is incredible. What are some of the things that they have had? I mean,
Oh.
big Eagles Hotel California autographed
Really?
albums.
We work with a
high end.
Yeah,
high
we work
end.
with a warehouse out in LA that has a lot of rock and roll and movie memorabilia.
Wow.
So we've gotten, I mean, posters from the original Star Wars signed by all of the original actors.
Oh my gosh.
We had last year the big not giveaway, but the big one was Tom Petty guitar signed by
Yeah.
Tom Petty and
Really?
and Heartbreakers. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot more of that kind of stuff this year.
And all, you know, authentic. It's a real deal.
You should see my office downtown Warren. I have like probably 150 autographed guitars.
You got to come.
You have to.
You gotta come.
When is it?
August 9th
We'll be-
at Packard.
It's not Saturday, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's. Oh no, I think I don't think we have a show that weekend because I think the Italian festival's that weekend. So
Okay. Great.
we'll have to remember
it
that.
is
We'll get
such
you
a
some
great
tickets.
cause. And,
Well, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
You know,
and we've had other like
I want to help
headliners.
promote it though. It sounds like a good thing.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And you know, we've had like Red Wanting Blue. We have Dennis Drummond comes back and
Dennis
plays with
Drummond
these
from
guys.
Warren.
He played at the theater. He was opening night.
He plays Wolfstock every year. Comes in from
Really?
Nashville just to play
Yeah.
Wolfstock.
He was an opening night of the theater. It was
Yeah,
him,
Robbins.
Marsha Warfield.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
Marsha Warfield. It was Paul Warfield's sister. I can't think of her name. And Dana Morgan. And then, of course, we had Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got some fun stuff coming up, but yeah, mark your calendars on that. Hopefully, if I'm not booked, of course, I'll be there.
Please.
We always have a great time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
such
a
an
great
awesome
time.
party. Oh, and last year we had Haas from Haas and the Juggernaut
Haas and the
stop out
Juggernaut?
and did
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple songs.
he's a pretty
Yeah.
nice, he's a pretty cool guy. My sister knows him.
Oh yeah,
So-
so we had Rama and his band and Dennis Drummond and Haas up there playing some songs together. I'll tell you what, that was a highlight of the night, man.
It was a lot of fun. A lot
Yeah.
of fun. And you never know who's going to show up. We always have some special guests show up.
Right.
So it'll
So
be
it's
great.
WOOF, like wolf, and
Yeah.
then stock,
Stock.
right?
Yeah.
You can get all the information at steelvalleywolfstock.org
Okay.
for everybody out there.
One
that
year
wants
at
to
the amp,
check
we
it
did
out.
Warren Stock. We had all these local bands, and we started like at noon. Nobody came from noon to 5. It was hot.
Right.
Only, like you could tell, like brothers came, family members, and nobody else, and we lost our ass.
Oh,
So
geez.
I don't do. When we lose our ass, I don't do it again.
So, that's the thing being a promoter. You have to have some steady nerves, right? You have to have nerves of steel because,
Mhm.
you think you got something going or you're like,
Yeah.
how could this miss or whatever?
It's
Or
stuff
the
that you
weather, with the outdoors. and
outdoor.
stuff.
That's definitely
You
and
know?
you buy the rain insurance
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's parameters. You got to have so much rain in a certain amount of time. Where are they measuring at? It's work. It saved my ass a couple times. But yeah, indoors easy as far as the weather. But like Saturday night, at the amp we had Who's Bad and this Prince thing. But
Mhm.
people were so desperate to get out because the weather's been so bad. And it was a nice night Saturday. Before it got
Yeah.
really hot, there was a nice breeze.
Yeah.
There was people everywhere.
Oh,
There was
people,
people everywhere.
Yeah.
I was out by Lake Milton last night.
That was
at
cool.
8:00
That
at
was
night.
crazy. We were there
Yeah.
yesterday.
Oh, were you?
Freddie,
Lake
no,
Milton, I have never seen that many people swimming in Lake Milton in my life.
And you know what? They were directing traffic
Yeah.
to get people. I've never. I said something got to be going on. I thought it was like they have a crab show out there. There's got to be something going on. Freddie,
No.
that Castaway Craig's is out there,
Castaway
and we
Craig.
live right by there. Like a block away.
I was a little bummed out though. I didn't get there until 8:00, and I couldn't believe they were closed. They closed at 8:00.
Oh, do they?
Every single place was closed there. I got a late start. Shillings Mills was closed. Castaway Craig's was closed. Grandview was closed. And Craig's, they had a lot full of people. I'm sitting there
Big
going,
time.
Jeez.
I would have kept that place going until every last person.
And then they
went
close
home.
on, and it's a nice place. They close on Mondays, and if there's a holiday on like Memorial Day, they close. Which I understand. They have a great crew there. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if it was open sometime. Because we
Yeah.
can walk over there.
Yeah.
Freddie, you have to come out.
Oh,
Cornell's
yeah.
been over there. We
Yeah.
smoked some cigars in with Jimmy
okay.
Bugos.
Well,
Yeah.
I still got to hook up with you down in Florida.
Oh, yeah. And thanks for
every
those-
time I get there, I'm only there for like a day or two. So
Right.
it's just like I got to see my grandson and everything. But one of these days, I get like a whole week or so.
So your
we'll
son
go down.
works for the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
get Blue Jays spring training tickets.
Ah,
And my
Nice.
friends are like whoever fans, so they go see the teams that they like, Phillies and
Yeah.
I don't know whoever else,
Right,
but
yeah.
it's really cool. And you've been to Dunedin Stadium,
Oh,
haven't you?
yeah.
There's
many
nowhere
times.
to hide from the sun. It's not like
Oh.
there's like an awning or anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You better be good with the sun, and you better have a hat because
Yeah.
and they got that like what VFW across the street.
Oh yeah.
You park for like, I don't know, if you would go in and eat and all that. It's pretty interesting.
Oh
Nice.
yeah. I'll tell you what, the Blue Jays for Dunedin for spring training, they bring in millions of dollars.
They do.
You know.
And if you remember during COVID, they played their regular season in Dunedin for either 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty, and spring training is a complete industry. People plan their whole like vacations. Like when the Indians were in Winter Haven, people, would come and plan their vacation. The Phillies, you see Phillies jerseys on the beach. It's really amazing.
Oh yeah.
You got to hook up. We'll cook out.
And then with the like you say, these people plan their vacations and
it's an industry.
I think the biggest mistake that the Indians did was moved out to Arizona.
I completely agree,
because it was just so much easier for us to go down there. And if you've never been to spring training, it's really nice because it's freezing cold here. It starts in February. It only runs for like a month, from the middle of February to the middle of March until the season starts. But it's like you get down there and all of a sudden you're watching baseball up close and it's sunny. And you're just enjoying yourself, and it's just like it's an amazing.
And the players
time.
are more relaxed. You go see them, they talk. It's a different atmosphere than when they're playing like in Cleveland or wherever.
Right.
Because they're relaxed
it's just a great time.
I think the Pirates are in Bradenton, Florida, right?
Yes.
Pirates down there, yeah.
And you got Tampa Bay, and then my other son, he works for a company, and they do the fields, so he does all the fields down there.
Back in the day, there was a gentleman named Blackie Gennaro. I don't know if you remember Blackie. Blackie was good friends with Chuck Tanner. So I used to when I was a kid, I used to go to spring training and see Clemente. Stargell. I thought it was normal, saying hi. I got autographs. I got Clemente's autographs, Stargell's. Oh, I can't remember who else was on that team, but it was kind of neat, I was so excited. I left my luggage. I went, got in the car, left my luggage at the airport, and Blackie says, "Where's your luggage?" I says, "Oh shit, I left it over. I had to go back to the airport, and they got a room for dummies like me." And there was a lot of dummies. I mean, there was a lot of luggage people. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was lost, but I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'll tell you. The Pirates back in the day, that was so much fun. I'm about the same age. We're about the same age, and
you're 52.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, 48.
Also,
48. It's 48 to 50. Exactly.
Well, I remember
that. But going to like Forbes Field to me was always a big deal when I was a little kid. That was just amazing, and then you would see Roberto Clemente and Mazeroski and all those guys.
You may be a little bit older than I don't know if I remember Forbes Field. I'm not going to ask you, but you may
yeah, you remember. Don't give me that. You didn't just start at Three Rivers.
I love it.
You probably remembered football with no face mask.
Right.
Yeah.
Leather helmets.
Oh man,
that's some wild stuff there. But spring training is just it's really cool if you get a chance to do it. And I think by the Indians, Guardians, whatever, moving out to Arizona, they lost a lot because it's so much more affordable and easy to go.
2-hour plane ride as opposed to whatever 4.5. And we we fly to Akron, Canton, and we run into Freddie at the airport. So
well, those Allegiant flights. I mean, sometimes and
they're ridiculously
if you got a place there and you don't need anything. $39-$40 if you don't care who you sit next to or whatever.
I flew for $10 one time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You bring a backpack or whatever, even if you need that, if you got a place there, you
keep
just
everything there.
Yeah,
more expensive
there. You don't have to worry about it.
It costs you more for the taxi. It costs you more for the Uber.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
Which is kind of goofy when you think about it.
Right. Yeah.
And the St. Pete airport down there too is really nice. It's not as crowded as the Tampa.
Yeah.
You're in and out.
Oh God. Yeah. You literally walk in and there's security. There's two, security things, but it's really nice. It moves people, and I won't have luggage, so it makes it easy.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. So, Rama, what have you been working on here? Tell me what's going on, man.
Oh, geez. A lot. So, as you know, last August released the album, Rockin' Man, the album. Yeah, I got a copy of it there for you. Man. And as of 2 weeks or last week, just finished up the first song for the next album. So, super excited about that. Actually put together a band to play the original stuff. We just played Ribs and Rock on Friday night.
There? Okay.
Yeah, we opened up for the Clarks there. That was a great show until
the weather was weird, huh?
Till the torrential downpour of our last song. But it's been really exciting. Just want to shout out to Corey Ward,
good guy,
for putting on Ribs and Rock every year and making it great. Bubba for the security, Frank for the backstage.
42,
42,
yeah.
42. Sean Shawless always making us sound great. And the guys in the band, the kind of the new band that I put together, young kid from Youngstown. His name is Kayvon Gordon, up and coming guitarist here in the area. And then of course we got Butch on bass, and Carmen from the house band is playing drums.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I have to find you and come out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So testifying woman, is that about somebody in a deposition or something with the Lord, or what is it? I mean, is she getting divorced? I mean, what's a testifying woman mean?
So I will tell you this: if you do listen to the album, there's all kinds of genres on there.
Okay.
Testifying Woman is my kind of ode to the blues. So it's kind of got that old blues feel, Testifying Woman.
Okay.
So
the crazy thing is now somebody gives you a CD and you think, okay, where's the CD player? I miss not having it in the car.
Me too.
So like 2 models ago, I had the 6 CD changer, and then the next one I got had 1, and the salesman said, enjoy that because they're done.
Yeah.
And boy, they're done.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the CD.
Well, we were just talking with Joe. We were all just talking before, and I missed the album because, like, I got Southside Johnny albums. I know every song. Now you get 1 or 2 songs in streaming, and you miss so much. To me, you miss so much good music. Okay, so Testifying Woman.
Yeah.
You're free. Okay,
right. Well, to get that, does Cornell have that one?
No, I got to get Cornell.
Oh yeah, make sure I'll get it to him so we could get that on the Blues Show, man.
That would be great.
Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Is this your like studio or something? Is that picture?
That is my music area in my house.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to come to the office.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You too, Freddie. You have to come. Cornell's been there.
Yeah. All right, let's got a couple people checking in here. Okay. Ralph Fajak.
Hi, Ralph.
Rama is a beast.
Thanks, Ralph.
And let's see here. Gary Jones checking in. Hi, Gary.
Gary.
Mark Terabassi.
Hey, Mark.
He has some nice words to say about Rama. And Dr. Sue Wilcox says she approves of this webcast. No kidding. I wonder why.
Dr. Sue, what are you drinking right now? Come on, let us in.
Hey,
she's our bourbon aficionado.
But I'll tell you what, she bought this tequila at the last one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what kind of tequila this was, but it came in a bottle that looks like I Dream a Genie lived in.
Clase Azul
is that what it's called?
And it's got a bell on the top. Then you can ring the bell. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I'll bring some to your office.
Yeah. Well, I got a bar down there, so you got to come.
There you go. Okay.
This was the smoothest tequila I ever drank in my life. We pounded a couple of shots. No salt, no nothing, just boom. And then like 10, 15 minutes later, I'm feeling it, and I'm going, what the heck happened? Why am I feeling like that? Because usually you expect the burn and everything.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it's working.
Right.
But with this stuff, it was just so smooth. And it was like, why am I feeling like this? I'm going, because I drank a couple of shots of tequila and didn't even realize it.
Exactly.
All right. Dr. Sue's sampling Blanton's Gold today.
Oh, nice.
I said Blanton's last night. We were at Salvatore. Nice. So I got to tell you something. I'm broadcasting live too. Bobby Jaloski. Hi, Bobby.
Hey, Bob.
Joe O'Grady's on here. Now, Joe's a former warrant policeman. His son, Michael, is with Avril Lavigne right now.
That? Oh,
and the bus driver, I don't know if you know Donnie DiGiovanni, is the driver. So we got 2 local guys on that tour, which I think Warren, Ohio, Youngstown is an incredible place because there's so much stuff from here. And I like it. Anyway, that's...
Oh, yeah. No, Joe's son is doing awesome. And plus, the last tour he was on was with Michael Jackson's daughter.
You're right, Paris. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Her and, he's doing really well.
So that's kind of, we got Donnie DiGiovanni would be a cool guy to get on your podcast because he drives, he's driven for Kid Rock, Paul Simon, what's the guy? Blake Shy. I mean, he drives for everybody. Now he's with Avril Lavigne, but
so I have to tell you, so you have Pat Travers coming in?
Yes.
So a friend of mine, his name's Rick Schobel. He'll probably kill me for saying this, but he is now the East Coast manager for Pat Travers and also Carmine Apiece.
Oh yeah.
So he's on the road with them all the time.
Carmine's with somebody else right now. He's playing drums for.
He's playing Cactus. He's doing he's doing 3 different projects at once.
He was with somebody. We just had him. He was at the theater.
Was it the Rod Stewart?
Yes.
It was the Rod Stewart.
Yes.
Not Rod Stewart himself, but a Rod Stewart. Right. But you should have Rick. come in because he's worked with everybody, but he's doing Pat Travers right now.
Okay,
as
well,
so he'll
please
be in
have
town.
get a hold of me.
And
maybe we'll do some shout outs or something.
Yeah, and he's from Austin town. So yeah, awesome.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, we are so lucky to have so many great musicians in this town. So Rama, what do you think's behind all that? Since you're in this scene and
listen, I will tell you, I tell people this all the time. I was very fortunate to get out of here and play music. Did a couple tours in Europe. Got to play the Cavern in Liverpool, England.
Oh wow.
And on our nights off, we would go out and we would see musicians, and I would be sitting there and I'd be watching these bands and I'd be like, man, I know like 4 guys in Youngstown that are just way better. You know what I mean? Honestly, like just way better than this. I don't know if it was something in the water or just the bands that came. I mean, you have people like Joe Walsh and, just these area musicians that I think that when they got together, they just made each other better. You know what I mean? So there's so much talent in this area. There's still a lot of talent in this area. And I will say this, there's a lot of young original bands coming out right now that are really good, really, really good. And I'm excited. I'm actually pretty excited again about the music scene in Youngstown. It's been a while.
My concern is I was watching Gene Simmons on some interview, and how are people going to make a living doing it? Because you can't monetize it. That's what scares me. There's so much talented, like, Brett Miller, he's Bobby Miller's son. They call him the Kid. He's a drummer for the Hillbillies.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much talent out there, but if you can't make a living at it, and me, I'm looking from the business side. So, it's nice to do only thing I play is the cash register. I mean, I got a drum set in my office that I beat up a little bit, but that's not real good. But, how do you, how do people make a living doing it? Because,
let me I'll kind of break that down for you, right? Please. Because I used to play for a living. That's how I made my living, was playing music. And, this album, the album that you have, I'm super fortunate. It hasn't gone viral or anything, but I just passed. I'm encroaching on 300,000 plays.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, those plays back in the day, you get radio play, you make a little bit of money. $300,000 or 300,000 plays has gotten me just a little over $300.
Oh my God.
So you get 0.00.
It's not even a penny.
No, it's 0.004 cents per play, or 3 cents per play. It goes back and forth. But the only way that musicians make money now really is on their merchandise and also playing live shows. Yeah. And that's why you see them out there like pounding the pavement now.
Right.
Well, back in the day, they toured to sell the album. That's why the tickets were cheap. And now they tour to make a living. And then whatever they sell, they sell.
Yep.
And that, like, we went out to the Sphere. We went and saw the Eagles,
Oh,
Joe Walsh actually got us. Did you know Smokey that just passed away? Joe Walsh's guy?
Yeah.
He got us through Jeff Burke.
Right.
And Jeff got us tickets. We went out to the Sphere. And it was but you didn't even watch the band because everything was so cool.
Right.
But it was a great experience. But where's the next band's going to come from? There's not going to be another Hotel California album, which
I saw already that the Sphere is having trouble because they got this big building and it's so cool and high tech, but they don't have anybody to play it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're bleeding money.
So tell everybody what that experience was like, because I want to get there.
So you walk in. When I mean walk in, you walk into the building. There's a tunnel coming from the Venetian that takes you in. And then when you walk in to the actual venue, which holds about 20-some thousand people, we were on the second floor, which is where they wanted to put us, because if you're on the floor, it's like IMAX on steroids. There's 164,000 speakers, every panel, and the sound is incredible.
Wow.
You never watched the band. They could have put an album on and you wouldn't have known it. And I guess they take people to the hospital all the time, because I got a little motion sick because there's cars coming at you. There's things moving around. Mm-hmm. But when you first come in, it shows a cityscape of like Hollywood. And all you're doing is your mouth is open and you just keep looking around. It's so beautiful and it's so dynamic. And then when the show starts, every song is different. There's a theme like Lion Eyes. It shows a lady driving the other side of town, obviously. Then there's a thing with Joe Walsh. Maybe it was whatever one of his. Maybe it could have been Funk 49.
Funk 49.
Whatever. Yeah. But his picture is on the top of the dome, and they show buildings like coming out of the ground and coming up. It's such visual overload.
Right.
I mean, they're taking a lot of people to the hospital because how they flashing light, epilepsy. Mm-hmm. People are getting sick. They're getting motion sickness. It's a visual feast. I guess it's the best way to say it, but you never look at the band because there's so much. They're just throwing so much at you. And I'm thinking, how does a guy program this kind
That's
of
what
stuff?
I think too.
You know, it's amazing.
And I'll tell you, one of the big draws there, of course, too, when you're talking about this Dead and Company. I've saw a couple of little clips from the Dead and Company. I'm thinking these people are out there tripping and stuff.
Right.
Oh, if they're dropping acid, I don't know about that.
Dead and Company could probably play there every week. And draw people.
Yeah.
And then U2 played there too.
I wish.
And
I wish we would have gone and see that
like,
because it was amazing.
Yeah, especially U2 to begin with.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
I mean,
but
I saw them at Madison Square Garden one time, and it was insane the way they had it set up. You know, they had a stage on one end, and then they had this whole like tunnel that went all the way across Madison Square Garden, and they had a little stage where they were doing acoustic.
Oh wow!
But this whole tunnel was a screen from one end of Madison Square Garden to the other, and it was just like videos and movies, and I mean, it was just stuff flying by, and it was so crazy. And I'm like, boy, I could just picture them, in that sphere, in this sphere, because what they had going on there was like pretty intense. You're like,
so when you see like a video wall behind a band, and you think like the Stones or something, the Stones would be incredible there.
Yeah,
but that's like 1/15 of what this place is. It's just truly
times it by
Roger Waters, or not Roger,
and the exterior
Waters,
school too.
or David Gilmour. David Gilmour went on that little tour. He played like a couple of dates in New York, and he played a couple of dates in LA. And I thought for sure if this guy would play this place,
it'd be unbelievable.
It would be, he could sell out there for a month.
Forever.
You know?
I think if Pink Floyd ever would, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, and I know they don't need the money, but do something, donate the money to some cause.
Right.
I mean, really, take your expenses, and it would be huge.
Yeah.
I always thought that like McCartney and Ringo, just to donate the money to, some whatever they wanted,
like both of them don't have enough money.
Yeah,
right.
Ringo's actually playing at the Sound in Clearwater, the new amphitheater down there, which just won the #2 amphitheater in the United States. They just built on the Gulf of Mexico. It's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's just right there, right on the water, and you see it from the bridge and everything.
Have you been to the venue though, Freddie?
No, not yet.
It's very visitor friendly.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at them like, man, why aren't they selling more booze? They only had a couple spots to sell beverages, and it was hot. You know what I mean? So I didn't get.
Ken's always thinking.
Right, exactly. Hey, I love that business mind.
Drink and you're like going
He's
way
wondering
over
why
here.
they don't have Sunrise Pizza there.
Right.
That'd be nice.
Love it.
So tell us about the Sunrise. How long has the Sunrise been in downtown Warren?
1929.
1929.
It was a speakeasy. Started. There was a gentleman. You know Armin Nanicola? I was with Armin last night. Armin's grandfather, his name was Charlie Murgy, owned it, and then my dad was with him too back then, and it evolved. And then my dad was there from the 50s until then. My uncle came in 1979 with my dad. Those guys kind of retired, and then we took over. But we were young. We had the 3-Star Diner. I don't know if you remember 3-Star on 422. My uncle had Anjo's. My dad started Tommy's Wayside restaurant out in Champion.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in the restaurant business, and then this entertainment thing just kind of happened,
Yeah.
So the restaurant's been there,
Where'd you get the name Sunrise? Where'd that come from?
I was told they got that from a hotel or restaurant in Sarasota, Florida. I don't know if that's true or not. Sunrise Inn, or maybe, I don't know, but that's what I was told. So that's
now
all
these are all your original recipes that you guys have had from generation to
generation. And everybody says, "Oh, you changed." I says, "We don't. I've been here. When I was working in the pizza shop, it's the same pepperoni, it's the same cheese, it's the same tomatoes. Why? I mean, why would you think there's a place I'm not going to mention, a chain, a restaurant in Warren? They have a couple others, so they changed everything." And it's, I don't know if you know what I'm talking. I'll tell you after, but I don't want, I don't want to do that. But why would, if you got a winning horse, don't change it. You know what I mean? Don't change it. So
absolutely.
We're very fortunate. We have
your sauce is so good.
Well, thank you.
The sauce is awesome.
And we just have a loyal customer base. We have a lot of, you see people 7 days a week. They sit in the same booth. I just think it's very cool.
Yes.
We call it's like Cheers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, you have to make somebody comfortable, whether they're coming into a venue,
right,
or a restaurant. A restaurant is kind of a venue in a different sort of way, but you make people feel welcome.
Yeah. Well, the Sunrise right up there, man.
Yeah, always. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I wish I'd get tired of eating the pizza. I don't get tired. I mean, I wish I would.
Yeah, who does? Who could get tired of that?
And these bands come in, and we see one thing, you go, and sometimes people put shitty catering out.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Right.
We feed it. Like the other night, we had baked chicken, we had steamed rice, we had pizzas, penne pasta, and I don't know if it was in a vodka sauce.
Wow.
We had tossed salad, and then we had like deli platters, fruit trays, veggie. You know, when you're on the road, you know, it's a big deal, you know, and we're lucky to have the restaurant to do that, of course.
Right.
But it's always nice to treat people. And when I do quite a bit of Broadway. When I was in New York with a guy named Manny Haidaris, Manny was with the Kenley Players, and that's how got us onto the Broadway. We're going to announce a bunch more Broadway plays too. And he says sometimes the wallpaper in the dressing room is just as important as everything else. And I always remembered that. And sometimes, like when we had Kevin Costner at Packard, he went and Donnie DiGiovanni was driving him. He ate 5 pieces of deep dish pizza, and I said, "You got to have a hollow leg." And then he ate like 4 pieces of cheesecake, and I don't want to take over the conversation.
That's okay.
So we have the show. We did a benefit for Chucky Alberini. He had cancer at the time, and Chucky was a good friend of ours. So at the end of the night, they wanted baked chicken for the bus. We had this beautiful baked chicken. The tour manager says they want something different. I said, "Oh, shit." So we gave him a menus from the restaurant. We get it. He didn't want his name on it. Everybody had a name, but he put it under like Joe Blow or something. So we did that. We screwed up his order. We forgot it. So I leave the venue because they're gone. I'm at Salvatore's restaurant. Donnie DiGiovanni calls me and says, "You forgot his meal." So Sal and I are cooking a steak for him to get ready for the bus. He says, "We got to go. We got to get on the road." He goes to the Taco Bell. The bus won't go through the drive-thru.
Oh,
he's Kevin Costner's walking through the drive-thru on South Street, getting whatever he's getting. People are going up to him and saying hello. It was on the somebody either videotaped it or something, but it was in the paper. It was really funny.
Oh wow!
So there's a lot of good stories. You know, I'm sure you got a ton of stories like that.
Now the Kenley Players, that used to be a big deal in Warren. You know,
big deal, and they screwed it up. They wanted the city of Warren to put new seat cushions on the seats and curtains, and they didn't do it. He went to, I think, the Carousel, never went, and then he went to, I think, E.J. Thomas. Warren was his home, and I mean, he used to have 12,000 people a week coming in on buses. Living room restaurants, El Rio, all the restaurants were busy. Brown Derby players, and they used to call like Florence Henderson would come into the Sunrise, Donald O'Connor, Paul Lynn. I mean, it was, and you know what? Like, I'm older, so I love Johnny Carson, but you'd watch Johnny Carson. Hey, where are you going to be next week? In Warren, Ohio at the Kenley
I was
Players.
just going to say that because you would watch that, or they would have a story. And they would say, "Hey, we're at this place, Kenley Players in Warren, Ohio," and they would have some kind of story. They mentioned that on that show all the time.
And John Kenley lived in Clearwater Beach. He died he was 104 when he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was interesting, you know.
Yeah.
So who are some of the other famous people who've been down to the Sunrise?
Oh God. Well, Kid Rock's been in. Bieber's been in.
Really?
Jay Leno.
And
the funny thing is, we do a menu and we name burgers after the acts, you know, and like we do the River Rock ones, and then after we do Robbins Theater, and like we had What's My Line? It was Colin Mockery, Brad Sherwood. What's the guy looks like Big Bird? He was on 2.5 Men too.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Anyway, these guys I got pictures of them. Mickey Dolenz too. They all take pictures with the menu because they think it's such a cool thing to have a burger. You know, you think they got all this money, they got all this fame, and you named a burger after them, you know, like Mickey Dolenz took a picture. He was in the night before, and we put it on Facebook. We had like 70,000 hits on that, you know. And that was a very cool show for me because, like, he was one of the monkeys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the last one, you know?
So that was a fun show.
Fun. He autographed guitar. He's just a super guy, too. Very nice, you know, very, very nice. So, yeah, we've had a lot of the Kenley. There was I think he's dead. Lyle Wagner. You remember him he didn't like the tip too well, and the waitresses didn't want to wait on him. So it was kind of funny because they stayed at a hotel called the Town and Country that was on 420. That was a big deal. It's kind of like, well, not the Avalon Grand Resort's beautiful. Yeah. But it was kind of the Avalon Grand Resort, but not that nice, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. Boy, the Kenley Players really had Warren just
we were on the map.
Jumping,
we were on the map.
Man. And it was like every week, it was like all these big stars at the time were there, you know.
So in 2014, a man, Manny Haidaris, who worked for the Kenley Players, says, "Why aren't you doing Broadway in Warren?" Because he was my next door neighbor. I lived on Eastland where St. Joe's is. And I'm like, because I don't know anything about that. He goes, "I'm going to help you." And the first show I ever did was Mamma Mia. which is pretty. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Thank God, because I had Blue Man Group that year. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. And we had Blue Man Group that year. We had Mamma Mia. I had the Buddy Holly story. We had some great shows. And this year, we got maybe Jersey Boys coming. I've done Jersey Boys over here at Powers.
Yeah.
And we sold 2 nights of that out because that music is timeless. You know what I mean? So,
definitely.
To me, I love music, and I like I don't even like Eminem. I like country. I like anything that's good. I don't care what it is.
That's great.
Some of this new stuff now, maybe not so much. But
yeah.
So answer this question. You guys are music guys. I ask people this question.
All right.
And I'm biased, of course. I'm still listening to stuff from 70s. It's timeless to me. It's 50 years old. In 50 years. Who will they be listening to that's playing now? Will there be anybody? I mean, maybe it's because my age. I can't think of anybody.
I think that some of the younger people are still going to continue to rediscover this music because, all right, say you're out there listening to rap, okay? Mm-hmm. Or like real heavy metal. All right, all of a sudden you have a couple of kids, you start growing up. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not going to be cranking some of this, dirty stuff and the F-bombs and everything. You got little kids in your car and stuff. At some point, you're going to have to figure something out. Yeah. And it just seems to me like a lot of these people just don't have the staying power.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I kind of mentioned that there's some younger original groups that are happening right now. These kids are in their mid-20s, okay? You go see them, they're playing Zeppelin. They're playing the Stones. They're filling in their original music with the classic rock, and it's really great to see. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. I
don't either.
A thing that I always thought was so
who do you think today is going to be 50? Like I always think maybe like an Ed Sheeran because I like Ed Sheeran, but does he hold 50 years?
Ed Sheeran. John Mayer,
Jack
you know
Johnson.
What I mean? Those kind of people because they go a wide breadth of music. John Mayer did a blues album. He did the Your Body Is a Wonderland.
Right.
He's done a lot of.
He plays with the Dead, which is very cool.
Right. So I think you are going to have a handful of artists that are here nowadays. What always boggled my mind was so I'm a child of the 70s, and thinking of all that great 70s music. If you were thinking back 30 years from then, you're thinking the 40s, right?
Yeah.
Right? So 40s music. But think about it now. I mean, we're 50 years out from the 70s.
And then some.
And
even the 60s.
That's still one of the popular music genres.
And think about this. And then in the 70s, if you went back 50 years, you're in 1920.
Exactly.
Glenn Miller, Swing.
How could you even listen to something practically on a Victrola,
right?
And stuff, or Al Jolson and things like that.
Well, me, I listened to the big band because my dad loved big bands.
Oh,
so he would listen.
My
dad go in and he liked big band, Glenn Miller, all that Bocelli, all that. Herb Alpert, Tijuana Brass sold out, and I think we may have.
And he's like 90.
He's 90.
Still
and it was great,
man.
That's what my dad used to listen to.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Too. So
Earl Gardner. And just all those guys. Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra.
So funny story.
I mean, we lived that music. And
absolutely.
He would not. My dad never switched from that music. He would never get into rock and roll no matter what. I would, he played piano and stuff and a guitar. And
did he?
I would find some songs that I thought, hey, listen to this. He just absolutely refused.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, one of my fondest childhood memories was when these acts would come on Ed Sullivan, and my dad would rip them apart. He was like Beavis and Butthead, oh my family royalties. This sucks. Yeah.
He probably didn't like Elvis then, did he?
No, he was not an Elvis.
How about the Beatles?
No.
No.
Now, my mom loved the Beatles. She liked Yesterday, and she had some favorites.
Yeah.
But my old man would not budge, man. Left my heart in San Francisco, the Great American Songbook, September Song, Tenderly, Misty, all those, and he liked show tunes too. He was big into the musicals, man. I knew all that stuff, Music Man, and Fiddler on the Roof.
I just listened to that song with my mom the other day for some reason. I don't know why what brought that up, but I'm gonna tell you something else that extended this music. So, like my nephew Thomas is at the amp, and I'm watching all these young kids and they're singing all the songs along. And I said, where are they getting this? He said, Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero extended all this. I don't know. Is Guitar Hero still a thing now?
I don't think
it's not now. No.
But I mean, like, say 10, 12, whatever years ago, these kids were all playing Guitar Hero and singing these songs, and it extended the life of this stuff. But, like we have that band Zoso. You're never going to see Led Zeppelin again.
No.
So, you know what I mean? So you got to go see,
right. I mean,
a
that's
tribute.
why, every once in a while you get some people who are like diehard and go, I'm not going to go see a tribute band.
Yeah.
Well, what? You never want to hear Led Zeppelin played live by musicians that know how to play it?
Yeah.
Right.
So what? This music just dies because these guys are never going to play together again, so we can never see that music live again.
I got a guy at the Sunrise because he was going on about tribute bands, and he's a huge Steelers fan. I says, well, you watch a tribute football team. He says, what do you mean? I says, Terry Bradshaw there, Joe Green, Arrowhead, Rocky by Friday. I says, you're watching a tribute football team. You're just rooting for the uniform.
Right.
Chuck Noll's not there, and he goes, that's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
So, kind of.
Some bands can pull it off, but some can't. There's some that have like an integrity to it or something, and others are just like blatant, like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, let's see some of the people checking in. Our buddy Dave Hope is checking in. What's up, Dave? Apocalyptic Lovers got a good album coming out.
Nice.
Features a little Fast Freddie on it, by the way.
Hey.
Arliss Walker from the Southern All-Stars, he's checking in. Those guys were supposed to play at Bike Night on Thursday over the Louvre, but we got rained out. Imagine that.
Jeez.
Isn't that something? The weather went from that monsoon to 90 degrees.
Like flip the switch.
Yeah. We didn't really have a spring, this year.
That's my sister, Anna Haidaris. She's
talking
about the Taco Bell thing because that's been a joke for a long time.
Yeah, my sister Lenny's checking in. Hi, Lynn.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Lenny.
Yeah,
hey, Jimmy Bugos.
Hey, Jim. What's up,
Jimmy?
Man? Boy, I'll tell you, we've had some fun times with Jimmy over the years. At
He's
places.
a good man. I'm gonna tell you what, he's a good man.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the one time it was me, him, Cornell, and Cornell's brother, and we were going to the Eric Clapton Guitar Fest at Madison Square Garden. And so we get to the airport in Akron, and the lady just says, sorry, your flight has been canceled. You can come back tomorrow.
Oh,
geez.
And
it was a concert that night?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so
that ain't good.
So the concert was that night. And back then, like we paid $300 for tickets, and at that point,
that was a big deal.
Whoa, $300!
Yeah.
So it's Eric Clapton's Guitar Festival, and it's Ronnie Wood and the Allman Brothers.
Oh my God!
Kev Moe and John Mayer and
so it wasn't that long ago, was it? Right?
With Keith Urban, they played together. They did a couple Beatles songs, and it was like a who's who, and Clapton and whoever else was there. I can't remember everybody. And so now, like Cornell and these guys and myself were like, what do you mean? Because just the way the lady said it, you can get a flight tomorrow and then put up the close sign, pull the thing down.
I think something tells me I've heard the story, but go ahead, because maybe it'll refresh maybe Jimmy or Cornell told me this.
So anyways, we're figuring, what are we going to do? So we find a flight to Akron to Baltimore or from Cleveland. We were going to leave from Akron. So then we drive to Cleveland and get on this flight to Baltimore. And the next thing you know, we get in a rent-a-car, and Cornell's brother was driving up I-95 like he was Dale Earnhardt. We're flying. He's in and out of traffic, weaving this, that. We get to Midtown Manhattan. We're coming up. We pulled up in front of Madison Square Garden, and directly across the street, there was a parking space on the street.
Oh my God.
And we pulled in that parking spot, and it was like, this got to be a joke. How could this be? And we got to our seat just as Clapton started playing.
Wow.
We walked in, we sat down, and the show started. It was like, this was just amazing.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh.
The electricity in Madison Square. We went and saw Billy Joel at Madison. I'm glad we did now, because I'm not sure he's going to play again.
Yeah.
We come out, and we were drunk, and they wanted $175 to go like 13 blocks with an Uber. And I said, oh no, we're not doing that. So we walked. It wasn't the straightest walk. It was a little bit of a zigzag. But, but I always say, what would life be without music?
I know.
You know what I mean? I mean, really, I put music on every morning because it lifts me up. You know, it really does.
Devlin Detchon checking in, says hi, Rama.
Hey, Scott.
Sam Morris checking in.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people checking in here this afternoon. So how about you, Rama? What was like one of your first concerts that you went to? Oh, before we get to that, did you realize that Rama is a champion fiddle player? And when he was a kid, he would go on tour. His family, he would play all these big bluegrass festivals and stuff.
Yes.
I did not. I love to hear that because I think the violin, the fiddle is incredible.
Oh yeah. Rama, with the hat, the belt buckle.
Oh yeah,
the whole 9 yards.
Unfortunately, those pictures are out there. You know what I mean?
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I started playing violin classically when I was 5.
Oh wow!
And then at 9 switched to fiddle. Started playing bluegrass. My parents took me everywhere on the East Coast. By the time I was 12,
I had no idea.
Yeah, I was nationally ranked, and I started playing in bands when I was 12. I mean, all the other guys were in their 40s, you know, and I was playing fiddle, and I still play. As a matter of fact, the new song that I have that I just recorded for the new album, we did mandolin, violin, cello. We did like a whole breakdown string section. So really trying to bring that back a little bit, the violin playing. But I love
bluegrass or violin.
So I actually played in symphonies for a couple years too.
Really?
So
I think that's great stuff. I had no idea.
Yeah, I did the classical.
That's really interesting.
Thanks. Yeah.
It is. I had no idea.
And the bluegrass and the country. I mean, I'm like you. I love all types of music.
Yeah. If it's beautiful, what's the difference?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Do you remember we did Yo-Yo Ma at the Amp?
Yes.
Yes.
So what happened there is they were calling the ball got dropped somewhere where he was playing in like 30 urban areas and trying to get urban kids involved with this classical music. He couldn't get through. Something happened. There was a disconnection with the city of Warren. Warren Philharmonic, Barry and Leanne Dunaway called me and says, "Hey, can you do Yo-Yo Ma at the Amp?" I says, "Yeah, sure." Well, I didn't know the hell Yo-Yo. My mother still calls him Yo Mama. I says, "No, it's not Yo-Yo Ma." So I'm trying to find out who this guy is. And my friend Dan Krause says, he's the Paul McCartney of the cello.
Exactly.
I says, okay, that was what I needed.
Yep.
So we had Randall Fleischer, God rest his soul, and Susan Devaney Jones. They brought the Youngstown Symphony and the Warren Philharmonic. And I thought, is this going to be a pain in the ass with both? You know, they couldn't have been nicer. Randall was wonderful. Susan was wonderful. Yo-Yo Ma was the most humble, nicest guy ever. Took pictures. But we had on a Monday night, he played at Blossom on Sunday. We had 8,000 people on a Monday night. And I'm is anybody really going to come and see this guy? And then boy, oh boy, they came out of everywhere.
Yeah.
Modern Methods had a couple kegs and it was gone in an hour. I was like, oh geez, we're in trouble here. In a good way, you know.
Yeah.
But so I like classical music. You know, I like Bocelli. I don't know if you consider Bocelli classical.
Yeah.
But I love it. He did that song with Ed Sheeran, Perfect. Oh my God.
Yes.
The video is incredible.
Yes. Yeah, and we really got to support, you know, like the Youngstown Symphony still here and the Warren Philharmonic. I mean, we try to go as much as we possibly can to those because I used to play. I graduated from Dana School of Music.
Oh, did you? Now, is Dana still there or is it not there?
It's kind of there. I don't think it's really there, but they still have somewhat of a music program there. That's not like it. Listen, when I went to school there, they were known for their jazz. They were actually known throughout the world for their jazz.
Really? See, I didn't know. I knew it was a big deal, but not that big of a deal.
And most of those players that I went to school with that were jazz players are now playing in the big band. I mean, they're from here.
Oh, wow.
So all those big bands that are still going on, orchestras.
Really?
Yeah. Most of those guys went to Dana. Yeah.
I see Jimmy Boo goes, what does Jimmy say? You and Cornell were in the back seat with Jack.
Yeah.
Is Jack Cornell's brother?
No.
No.
That was a bottle.
Sorry, yeah.
With a black label.
I got you. Okay.
With a number 7 on the label.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Jimmy. I thought that was
who's Jack? Yeah, Jack.
Okay, I thought it was Cornell's brother. What do I know? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Jimmy and Cornell came out one day out to the lake, and we sat there and smoked cigars. And I think Cornell brought a bottle. He's a bourbon guy, right?
Yeah,
he brought a bottle
Jack
of bourbon.
Too,
I don't remember, but he brought something else. I don't know what it was. probably still have some.
Yeah, I would say maybe Gentleman Jack or Single Barrel or something like that.
I don't remember.
Something along those lines. So, yeah, that's one thing about Rama. I mean, he continues. He's got this burning passion, and his good friend Leanne Binder too, who just put out some new music.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, these two really, really work hard at coming up with new stuff. I mean, they have never let off. They have never got discouraged. They continue to come out with new stuff all the time, and it's just great.
I actually have a CD player. I'm going to put this in my office because I want to hear it. And I haven't really listened to. And bands are giving me like CD. I got a whole thing, but the CD player, and I miss having albums and CDs.
Yeah,
I really do, because there's so like say number 8, like say Testifying Woman's number 9. That's maybe it doesn't get on the air, but like I say with Southside, I can sing every song on a Southside album because I wore him out. You know what I mean? I'm sad that I think he's kind of done too.
Yeah.
And when he was at the theater, do you remember? Did you know Joe Prinzo? Joe Prinzo was his tour manager, and I says, Joe, you think you'll come back next year? And he said, I don't know how many more trips around the sun we got, and I really didn't pay attention at the time. And Jeff Kazee is his keyboard player, great musician, and to me that's Dave Mason's not touring. I think he's not doing well either.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of classic guys out there that
It's funny because I talked to my buddy Rick, who's working for people like Carmine Apiece in his 80s, right? Still out there touring, and when I say tour, I mean they're on the road for 3 weeks, hitting all these small places. It's you have to love it.
No,
you have to love it, and it has to be in your blood. Listen, my grandmother, rest her soul, played her last show when she was 83 years old.
And she classical.
She was a pianist, a keyboardist.
Oh, wow.
But she had her own band, and she gigged till she was 83 years old. She got brain cancer, and that's the only reason that she stopped. Mm-hmm. But I mean, she had her band, and she would gig, and we used to go watch her. 83 years old. That's if you're a musician and you do it because you love it, because you certainly aren't doing it for the money.
Yeah,
anymore.
Really.
You know what I mean? So
nothing I enjoy when a musician is just like we had Buddy Guy, and with somebody's you can just see they have pure joy and they're playing, their eyes are closed and they're lost in that moment. I've never had that with playing an instrument. To me, I get kind of envious because I wish I had an experience like that.
Right.
Really.
Right. Yeah, when you see these guys do what they do and they do it so well, you're just sitting there going, man, Rama, we still got to get together on lessons. Once I get some time, Rama's going to give me some lessons here.
With the guitar? What is guitar?
With the guitar.
Guitar.
Yeah.
Last time I was in, we had a little lesson.
Yeah, right. But
you play anything, Freddie?
No. But that's why I got into the radio business, because I liked music so much and I wanted to be around it,
Yeah.
And
you're the maestro of the microphone.
Yeah, there we go. Something like that.
Don't take that wrong, Cornell. But
we don't want
really, when and it's funny because my buddy Salvatore, he owns Salvatore's restaurants. We had Zoso, and they pull out the double neck guitar, and he goes, "Here comes Stairway to Heaven."
Oh yeah.
And like we had Don Felder at the theater, okay?
You know what was wrong with that show? It was too close after COVID.
It was too close after COVID. If we
would turn around and have him now, that show, was an awesome
And I'm going to have to show you, Dan Rivers interviewed Don Felder on his show. And Don Felder said to me, I want to meet, Dan Rivers came to the show, and he says, I want to meet this guy because that was the best interview. There was great questions.
Wow.
So I took a video.
I guess I'm not the maestro of the mic. I guess, boy, I'm already down to third place. I went down to third place from Cornell. Cornell to Rivers to me. It just went boom, boom, boom. I keep going, kid. Maybe I'll.
I actually videoed the interview when they were in the lounge at the Robbins Theater.
Uh-huh.
And it was just so. And Don Felder was talking about writing Hotel California, and I'm like, wow, this is history. And I'm standing here with the guy that wrote maybe, arguably one of the top 10 songs of all. Maybe, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but it's top 20 maybe.
Like Stairway to Heaven.
Oh yeah,
Turn the Page and Freebird. It's up there.
Yeah.
and I just don't think we're going to see that again. And that's the sad thing for me.
Yeah, that was the thing with that show. It's too close after COVID. That might have been the
100%
first
right.
show after COVID,
Yeah.
and people still weren't coming out. And I think it was rescheduled. And yeah.
The other guy that we had the guy from Five for Fighting. His name was John and Andrzejek or something like that. He just did a solo on by himself. It was a great show, but again, there was like 300 people there because of COVID. So it was a weird time.
Yeah.
We opened the theater in January of 2020 with Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, America. We have Len Rome and Jim Blowboy doing The Odd Couple again at the Robbins in August, and we were killing it. The place was full. There was some curiosity there to see the theater. Blue Oyster Cult comes on March 10th. Sell it out. Pulled the plug. It was done. We had Millennial Theater coming to do Shrek. Sold a ton of tickets, and that was it for. And I'm thinking, okay, a month or two. We left the set on the stage, and boy, was I wrong.
I'll never forget that. We were it's St. Patrick's Day. We were doing a St. Patty's Day party over at the Magic Tree in Boardman. And I remember they said, okay, the governor is going to make an announcement here. So like all the waiters and everybody, we all went in the back room, and when he says we're closing everything down and everybody was standing there, Rudy just had this blank look on his face. He had to leave. All the waitresses and everybody were crying. And boy, that was it from there, man. I mean, I'll never forget that. That's one of those moments I know exactly where I was. And, that was just.
And something interesting. It was like whenever Kobe Bryant died, like January of 2020, in the USA Today, huge article on Kobe Bryant, a little side thing about COVID. And it ended up being, not that wasn't a big story, Kobe Bryant, but of course COVID was,
Right.
No, I remember seeing that too. I was actually on a plane to Clearwater, and I had a newspaper. It might have been USA Today or whatever, and it was just a little tiny article, like maybe about 4 paragraphs long, and it said something about a virus is in this Wu-Tang or whatever area of
Wuhan.
No, it's Wang Chung. It was in Wang Chung.
Yeah. So Wang Chung, you're telling me that Wang Chung started this whole thing?
Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Come on now.
Now we know.
Yep.
We're coming to Youngstown, and they're going to spread this again.
Yeah, the cat's in the chow mein at the Silver Moon,
Yeah, so anyways, and I remember reading that, and it was like, it was just like the very beginning. And then the next thing you know, it wasn't long after that, but it was just, so many people are getting sick. It seems to be out of control. They're trying to do this. Yeah. And it was just on like page 10 and that also around the world or whatever. And it was just like 4 or 5 paragraphs, if that. And then it was like, oh man.
The whole music industry just shut down. I mean, I remember, I think, to be honest with you, my last show before COVID was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, because March 20th is when.
And then March 20th, and everything got canceled. Yeah. And all my friends, of course, here, everywhere. I still have friends in LA. I still have friends in Nashville. Just done.
Devastated.
Just done. And everybody was trying to figure out like how are we gonna live? How are we gonna make it?
Yeah.
So it was really bad.
It was an interesting time. Restaurant was closed. The pizza carryout was good. And we did. Thank God we have a good presence. We did great, but you got dining rooms empty. What I mean? And then of course I gotta say, DeWine, it's not political, did a pretty good job. He kind of brought it. Pennsylvania did a terrible job. People were coming from Pennsylvania, coming to the Sunrise to eat because they could. You go out in the parking lot and you see half the cars are from Pennsylvania. So it was crazy, but we're lucky we survived to live. A lot of you're seeing the effects now. People are closing and people fell behind on bills. Musicians, musicians couldn't make it. And it was interesting.
And probably the biggest thing, and I'm sure Rommel will agree with this, is now we start at 7 o'clock and 10, 11 o'clock. But you know what? It's not a bad thing for some people,
Well,
starting at 10 and the place doesn't peak until midnight and you go until 2. I mean, in some ways it's like pretty good. So you see some
for us older musicians.
It's like the early bird special, right?
6 to 10, 7 to 10, 7 to midnight, 7 to 11.
Yeah, it used to be. I mean, the clubs didn't start hopping until 10:30, 11 o'clock,
Oh,
and you played till 2. And if the bar owner wanted you to, you'd play till 3.
Yeah.
Right. And then you would go to breakfast at 4 in the morning.
We owned Tin Pan.
Yeah.
And then we rented it to Tom Daly and Eddie Zamorelli.
Yeah.
So Tin Pan, that place, that dome out there would be, I don't know, 5. Smoking Bill was still alive. I think he was doing something there.
I think so.
Well, then he opened the restaurant.
Well, look, I just went down 2 more notches. The AC and Smoking Bill. I was the maestro of the mic. Now I'm down to like 6th place.
And now Histro Boots Bell in now. Now I'm number 7.
Tin Pan was a great venue. I mean, I played.
They used to have a big jazz night. Remember the jazz that was like on a Tuesday night? Tuesday night. They had a great jazz. That house that's in the front. My dad and uncle. Back then, they owned the property from where Walgreens was all the way where Lorica was. That wasn't worth the shit back then. But they moved that house. That was my dad and uncle's first nightclub.
Okay.
And it was called the Essex House. And something happened where there was a fire. It wasn't doing good, and I don't know what happened. There was a fire. But then it became Grant's Lounge. And then, it was ours still. And then Eddie Zamorelli and Tom Daly took it. And then they put the patio on first, and they put the dome.
Yeah.
And they killed it for.
Oh, yeah.
We used to play in the front. So before the dome, we used to play all the time in that little tiny stage at Tin Pan Alley. You know what I mean? I mean, those were the days. Did you just see on the news they're rehabbing the Park Inn?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a new thing that they're going to do.
So that was a place on Glenwood.
I know. Oh, geez.
Remember? And then they had JB's Lounge, which was right next door.
There was a burlesque joint there too, wasn't there on Glenwood?
Yeah, well, the Dirty Movie, the Foster.
Yeah, the Foster, yeah. That was the old
place.
Saying, get a little on Glenwood, yeah.
I'll tell you, back in the day, though, man, that's when it was hopping there, man, between the Park Inn and JB's.
Oh, yeah.
We
Tomorrow
really had
Club?
We had that block going on, man.
Foxy's,
absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Who used to come out to the Park Inn all the time and see us play was Ed O'Neill.
Oh, really, Eddie?
When he was in town, he always sat in the same place, and I'd be playing on stage, and he would be over in that little corner, at the bar, and he's a huge music lover too. I got to talk to him a couple times as well.
Well, it's funny because when sometimes Boom Boom will come to my office or there, and Eddie, they talk like we were in the car going up to get Mike Franzese up at the airport, and he's talking to Eddie O. It's pretty cool. You know, I'll give you who's the actor that's played in the most sitcom episodes. It's Eddie O'Neill.
Is that O'Neill?
Over 500.
Wow.
He had
Married with Children.
Modern Family.
And he had a new one, I believe.
Well, he played Sterling Williams, not Sterling Williams, the guy that owned the LA Clippers. They got rid of because he made racial remarks.
Yeah.
But Eddie, he played in Blue Chips. When I was on a podcast with him, with Eddie O'Neill and Boom, and he would play in Blue Chips with Shaquille O'Neal. Did you ever see that movie? It was about bad call. Oh, it was a great. And Eddie O'Neill was like an investigative reporter. But it was this area again has so many.
Yeah. You mentioned
Fast Freddie Woke is from Youngstown, Ohio.
The number one maestro of the mic here in Youngstown.
You know what we're talking about.
I'm going to get you a T-shirt, the maestro of the microphone. I like that.
Yeah. You mentioned Boots Bell. They did an episode of Modern Family on Boots.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Phil Henry. I don't know if you guys remember Phil Henry. Phil Henry was on the radio for a lot of years.
In Youngstown, you mean?
Well, no. He was national.
Okay.
He was a nationally syndicated guy.
No, I don't know.
And he did all these voices. And he would have these outrageous guests on there that would just say the most outrageous things, but it was really him playing all the parts. And he would have people just going freaking berserk because these people would just come up with the people would be such assholes that you hated them. like the one guy owned a restaurant, and it was something like he thought it would be fun for all the successful people in the class reunion to sit up in this other thing so they could laugh at all the losers and just crazy stuff like that. Or he had the one guy was you know, or these people would be telling a story and then all of a sudden it would just take a turn, you know, like it was the coach and he's talking about coaching these boys and making men out of them. Next thing you know, but we had to quit because of this one incident. And it was like a peak hole or something. These people are just, you know. And so anyways, so they have Phil Henry on there and he plays a guy named Booker Bell. And Booker Bell and Ed O'Neill goes, his son-in-law was trying to make a business deal. And Booker Bell was the guy that was going to had the say of yes or no. And Ed O'Neill's like, Booker Bell, he was on the radio in Youngstown. That's my idol from Youngstown, Ohio. And he goes on this whole thing with Booker Bell and they're going on and then they meet and all they're doing is talking about Youngstown and Booker Bell on the radio. And I caught wind of that. So I call up Boots' son and I go, hey, I said, are you watching this Modern Family? I go, they're just doing a big thing about Boots on here. And he goes, get out of here. So then I guess they had somebody that taped it or something.
So how did he get the name Boots? Do you know?
I never knew.
What was his real name?
Ralph.
Well, Boots is bad.
Ralph.
Yeah, exactly.
His real name was
Not
Ralph.
that Ralph's bad.
Ralph,
Sorry.
yeah,
Ralph Fajak's walking. Sorry,
right.
Ralph.
No,
I don't mean
but
like
you know what?
that.
You need a name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You
Right.
need
It's
a
Freddie.
name. Right.
That's Freddie.
You know,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, his real name was Ralph Bellino.
Okay.
And he's from Cleveland and Italian guy. And I worked with Boots for like 10 years.
Well, you know, it's funny, like, you know, Lynn Davis, you know, that's not her real name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, you never know. And then, and we were, you know, Bobby, and somebody's calling. I said, no, that's not Bobby. That's Lynn. They says, no. I says, oh, gee. You know, that's when we started the amp, and I didn't know that
Casey
much.
Malone, you know.
Casey,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's Casey? That's not her real name?
No. It's her name's Eileen.
Eileen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I do know, because she's a good old Irish girl.
Yeah.
She's, I know her last name. And
Yeah.
Coyle, maybe?
No. Her dad was the prosecutor.
Oh, Gil Martin. She's a Gil Martin. You're right. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Giving away all the secrets here, right?
Sorry,
You know what I mean?
nobody's getting pissed about this.
Oh, this is we're filling it all. But yeah, that was when
Mr. Sports, John Baccio, you know.
Right. Oh yeah, John.
I'll tell you another one you got to look up too is there's a guy named Bill Bodine that went to Wilson.
Yeah.
And he was in a band back in the day called Brainchild. And I think Bobby DePiro was in that band too.
I think so.
Yeah. You know, this is like the quality of bands that we had out there. Okay.
Oh,
Bobby DePiro goes on to be like the biggest songwriter in Nashville.
And he plays here at Powers like once a year, right? I never, you know, you learn a lot. You know Mariano Longo?
Yeah.
Mariano's Wayne Newton's orchestra director. He just opened a place called Downbeat. You got to come over.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Downbeat Music. It's a music studios where musicians do studio time.
Okay.
And you know, Mariano's very accomplished orchestra leader. You know, I don't want to use the word pianist because then sometimes people think I'm saying something else. Yeah, not penis, pianist. That's that. Remember that joke about I had 3 wishes and I wanted to be a pianist. You know.
So, anyways, where was I? Oh,
Bill Bodine.
Wilson. Yeah.
Bill Bodine.
Tom McCrispinski, who you got inducted with.
Right.
We see him at the gym and he says, Fat Freddie. I said, do you wear his hat? He says, no, yet. And I saw your picture. You look really nice. He got inducted into the
Wilson High School
Hall of Fame.
I was joking with Tom. I said he's getting indicted next week.
Yeah. Oh, that's the Hollywood Tavern Hall of Fame. 2 different things.
Right.
This one you get inducted, the other one you get
indicted. Yeah. I got a lot of friends that got
Patsy
indicted.
Palumbo from Left End is in the Wilson High Hall of Fame. And Bill Bodine, he's in the Hall of Fame too. But anyway, so they were in this band Brainchild. And then the next thing you know, he moves out to LA. Mm-hmm. He hooks up with like Sergio Mendes.
Oh, wow.
He tours with Sergio Mendes. He's a big studio guy out there. Mm-hmm. And he turns around and he writes the theme song for Judge Judy.
Exactly.
Really?
Yep, exactly.
It probably made he's still getting syndication.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the quality of people that we've had. I saw this one ad, and I probably have it somewhere, you know, and it was a teen dance over at the Ukrainian Hall on Bella Vista one day, and it was like 10 bands. Mm-hmm. And it was like an all-day thing. And the bands were like Left End, Puba.
Oh, God, are you going Puba? Jeez,
there was this band out of Pittsburgh. I can't think of the name of them right now.
Not Joe Grusecki.
No.
Okay.
But it was like Sweetwater or something. Okay. But out of them 10 bands, everybody got signed. And this was a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday afternoon team thing. And every single person on that bill was successful.
Yeah.
And they're playing on a Saturday afternoon at a little hall on Villa Vista.
You know Mick Mahan too.
Yeah. Right.
What was that one?
So he's Mick Mahan.
Oh, okay. No.
Isn't he playing with
Pat Benatar?
Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
So I mean, so many people from this area.
And I see the old ads from the Tomorrow Club, and you see like who's here for like $4, like
right.
REO Speedway, and I was amazed. It's amazing, you know. It really is to me that you know what's happening.
Yeah, one of the classic shows there. AC/DC opened for Mink DeVille
at the Tomorrow Club.
Yes,
no kidding.
And they played 5 songs, and the ticket was like $3 or whatever.
Beer was a quarter.
Yeah,
right.
God, they got everything screwed up now. You go, they want $18, $20. Some of these venues.
They do. Yeah.
Hey, that's one thing I got to say about the Robbins Theater, and we'll get back to AC/DC. I tell you the story a million times.
And the amp about the price. Go ahead.
You know what? The Robbins Theater is one of the best entertainment values in Youngstown. The drink prices are right. It's free to park. You're home early. All the seats are up close.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you go to these big shows, you're not seeing the interaction between the musicians or anything.
Yeah.
When you're there, and I mean, okay, maybe some of these guys are older. Maybe they're not all the original guys, but they're all players there. You're not seeing any slouches there. You're seeing talented people like Dave Mason. You get to see Dave Mason
from Traffic.
You know, like right up close, you know?
Yeah.
And people like that. Mickey Dolenz, you're seeing Mickey Dolenz. Or
I mean,
you know,
a lot. It's, it really is. Our drinks are like $5 or $7.
Yep.
At the amp, we're $5 for $20. So if you buy a token or whatever, 5 tokens, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, it's not a bad deal, So you come in, I know it's a different animals tributes, but like the other night, like say, this week, I think it's $13 for 6 hours of music.
Yep.
And a beer's $4, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I can't remember, maybe it was somebody used to call, I think John from Satin Sound, Dorisco used to call Dominic Baragona the king of the blue collar dollar.
Yep.
And Dominic was, he was a visionary. He was a genius. Now you worked for him, right? At the Wolf, right?
From day one.
From day one?
From my first day in broadcasting, I worked with Dominic from 1979.
So was that your first gig then with Dominic, or where?
Yeah.
Was that where you started?
1979 with WNIO.
WNIO.
We had WNIO AM Country, and I got that right after I got out of college. And
you went to college. He went to college.
Yeah.
Now you don't mean jail. A lot of guys I know say they went to college. They got out of jail. You didn't go to jail.
No, not that kind of college. No.
I had a buddy that said, I was with the guy in this. I said to this guy, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "I just got out of college." And my buddy said he went to college. I says, "No, it's not that kind of college." He was in a joint for like 8 years.
Was that in the trailer?
Yeah, well, it was a brick building.
A brick building? Yeah.
A cement block building out on Webb Road.
That's it.
Webb Road.
And that's where CD 106 was born. And
really?
We did that through all the work at WNIO. We were building on that to bring that out.
Did you have your own tower there? Was there your own tower?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
That was,
Oh, I mean, we just blew it out of the water. That was, that was so much fun for me to be able to be an active part and one of the main guys in putting that radio station on the air and playing rock music at our age and still like appealing to, our age group. And so it was, I mean, I some people, they go to New York or go here or there. I think the experiences that we've had there were just as fun and unforgettable, and maybe even beyond if you went to someplace else where there might have been more rules and stuff, because we really didn't have too many rules.
I'll tell you what, I was there numerous times. It was Super Dave and Dana,
Was Cornell there? Now, there was an old picture on Facebook, you and Cornell. There was a bunch of people in there. Yeah. Was that from that time?
Yeah, that was the original crew. That was
that's a great photo. Yeah. I didn't know most.
That was
you.
Like,
I knew you and Cornell.
Yeah, in there it was Mike Richards and let's see, Terry Williams, who passed away, and we had this guy Barkley was in that picture. Gary Z, Marie Agnardo, Casey Malone, Kim Monroe, and me. And I'll tell you, we had 7 people, and they all were successful in everything that they did. And I mean, there was a lot of successful people there too. That the list goes on. Like Paula from NCX, she was there with us for a lot, and the Gatekeeper, and just a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Rama, him and Super Dave and Dana, and, those guys. They used to just be so completely off the hook, and they would call themselves the Beautiful Losers, and it was true.
You weren't a DJ though, right?
No. I was just friends, and I would come in.
Go on the show.
Dave would say something like, "Hey, bring your guitar in today. You're gonna play in between the commercials," and I'd be like, "Okay," because there were no rules back then. There were zero rules.
You know, and that's what
the radio was so fun, good. Wasn't it?
It
screwed it up completely.
It was really. You know what though? I got to say,
it's boring.
Cumulus is doing some good things though.
Well, no, I'm talking about in general. When they syndicate, you know, like I put on the one that's Bobby Bones. I'm like, who the hell's Bobby? It's that country shit.
Right.
I like listening to Doug and Mary Ann in the morning. They're legends there. You know what I mean? And it's boring if unless you have the people, the personalities.
And we were able to just do anything. And you talk about Dominic Baragona. He encouraged that. That was the thing.
Yes.
You would not find too many radio station owners or managers that had that attitude. Like, if you're not doing something crazy, you're off here. What? We're not getting on the news. We're not getting in the paper. You're not pissing somebody off. What are we doing? Are you guys? Nowadays everybody's so crazy about getting sued and this and that. It's
And you know what was great for the music though too back then was you guys could play local acts on the radio.
Yep.
Your favorite band put an EP out or something. Oh, hey, we're going to spin Special Forces song or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And you could do that and you could get it out to the people. And unfortunately that just isn't.
So they load everything for you, Fred. It comes in.
Well, no, not really. We have some guidelines, but we're not like some of these other stations, like the iHeart, where it's what's playing on this station right now is playing on 50 other stations. That's what one thing that sets Cumulus apart. They do believe that they want Youngstown to be Youngstown. They want Buffalo to be Buffalo. They want Kansas City to be Kansas City.
And I think that's smart.
And our whole thing is we got to get this point across too to some people that I don't think we're doing a good job at getting it across. We do help people like Rama and Leanne. Maybe we can't play their music, but you know what? We talk about them on the air. We have our podcast. We have our social media.
Right.
We still try to help out where we can. I mean,
that's everything. That really, it's big.
It is. It's huge for us.
Yeah.
We're still part of the community. But and I mean, you look how good we do for you.
It's incredible.
And we do that for everybody, or all the different charities that we help. Sirius XM, you're paying them money. Are they going out and helping the Warren Rotary?
Nope.
Are they going out? Are they here? Are they there? I mean, we did that show with Demas Papademas at.
I really like. He's really good.
He's a good dude.
I know his dad real well.
Yeah, they did that. Bob Dylan thing. They helped the Second Harvest Food Bank. All right. Well, but at least we get the name out there.
Right.
We help the Vindies out where we can. I mean, we might not be able to play their music, but there's other avenues that that we still have some element of support. Where these other people, it's zero.
So if you want to slide a song in there by the Vindies on your show, it can't happen.
Cornell got a little more room because of what he does.
Right.
And Sunday mornings too. Every once in a while we could throw some stuff in. But also, sometimes it's a little tough because they say, oh, it's classic rock and it's new music. But I'll tell you another thing that really went by the wayside, and that was from the other guys, is when Viking Jim had his homegrown show going. I'll tell you what, he really had that going good. He really had a passion for that. And I mean, a lot of those bands that play like, the West Side Bowl or the Royal Oaks, Cedars and those kind of bands. I mean, he was really doing a good job with those people, like Album and Turbo Lovers.
Is Viking Jim the guy that was with Dan Rivers? They called him Viking. Was that the same guy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure because when I used to go on Dan's
we
show.
should bring him in.
You should
bring him someday. The bike is out there.
Yeah.
And the thing about that
is always nice to me.
And he doesn't deny it. He wears it. He owns it. Mike is out there and he admits it. With Viking Jim, what you see is what you get.
That's
true. I only saw him in the booth when I come in. He let me in. I never got anything like wacky or anything. But I mean,
you look at him, but like I say, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help advertisers. We're here to help where we can. It might not be like it used to be, but it's something, you know.
No,
we
you
went
go
out,
a long way with
you know,
us. You
Cornell
really do.
and myself were out at Leanne's little EP release party. And, you know, I mean, you know, so, you know, we talk about it. We at least talk about it on the air. We mention it. We post some pictures. And I'll tell you, Tom Saylor has an awesome,
the Crow's Nest.
Awesome place.
That is a great
it's called
venue.
The Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
And it's in you go through a loading dock.
Yeah.
And it's in an old warehouse. And you open the door after you go through the loading docks and everything. And you open his door, and it's kind of like the Taj Mahal or something.
It's not like where the limo comes. You're not talking about the place on where the limos, Fab Limo is.
No, this is over on Marshall Street, right up on 680 when you're coming up. It's next door to the Menacor, and he has a rehearsal hall there.
Oh, wow.
And a recording studio, and they do videos, like a creative thing, and it's also available for like private events.
Yeah.
So like, you know,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
if Rama wanted to do something down there, but
Yeah.
the atmosphere is just so cool. It's like you don't even know you're in Youngstown. You walk in there and you're going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
And so, you know,
Yeah.
but we're also trying to help him,
Right.
you know, with like, you know, even
Oh,
with
you
like,
always help us with Wolfstock and everything
right.
that we're doing with that.
right,
So
you know, downtown when they had that Bring Back Downtown Youngstown, even though we don't play Red, Wanting Blue, we helped them out with that.
And that was a great turnout,
you know,
wasn't it?
yeah.
that band is so good too, man. They're another one. that's
Yeah,
just
we had them
really
at
good.
Wolfstock last year.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
And, you know, we help out with Wolfstock and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's what, you know, that's one thing that the Cumulus really, they want to do that. They feel that that's our ace in the hole against all these other things. Maybe you're not going to get the music you want to hear. Maybe the music's a little repetitive, but you know, everybody's always talking about, oh, buy local, support local. Well, support us because we support local. This is what local is. You know, if there's anything that I could possibly do to help Ken, you know, I'm going to do it. If there's something, and I'm not patting myself on the back, or, you know, if there's anything I could do to help Rama,
Well,
we help
absolutely.
them,
If
you
we're
know?
successful, then
Absolutely.
we're average. You know,
That's
there's the
whole
Italian
thing.
saying, one hand washes
Yes.
the other, and both hands wash your
Yes.
face. You know, if everybody's
Right.
successful, it just feeds off of each other.
Right.
That's right.
Now, you know,
You know?
maybe somebody that's watching this today hasn't been to the Robbins Theater or been to the Amp, or they might have never heard of Rama.
Mhm.
You know, now me, of course, though, being the maestro.
maestro,
Right.
They've
They've heard of you.
Now me,
I like
I'm in
that.
a little different. You know, I'm in a little different area than you guys,
Right.
so-
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I mean that's the way we do things, and we want you to be successful. We want people to come out and see Rama play and listen to his music. We want the Amp to be packed every day. We want Robbins Theater to be jammed. We want people
That's right.
will wait in line to get in the sunrise. We want that's what we do.
It's,
you know,
it's
Yeah.
really good for the. I mean, it really is good for the area.
Absolutely.
You know?
I
If
mean-
venues are successful, then you're playing.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
People are there. You know.
yes,
It's all about the entertainment
Yeah.
industry in general. I remember when I heard that you got back.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I was extremely happy, man, that you
I was a little on the fence. I was kind of like after COVID, and I didn't
Yeah.
feel like working anymore. I really
Really?
love not working.
Whenever you want to come down
Yeah.
to the Amp and set up a table, we can promote your CDs and come down and bring a
really
bunch of them and
appreciate
sell
that.
them. Yeah,
thank you.
please
Ken, I really appreciate
come this
that.
weekend. if
But you
want.
know
Okay.
that's what it's all
Please.
supposed to
I'll give
be.
you my number when we get.
Please.
That's what it's all
Please do.
supposed to be. Everybody's helping us, and we're supposed to be the driving force that if we can help get that message out, that's supposed to be the job. And that's how it started with radio to begin with, was each was supposed to be local
Mhm.
for your area. That was the whole idea behind it, whether it's, you know, the news and weather and public service announcements. I mean, you know, some of the stuff that we do for bike runs and everything else, we try to make it happen, you know?
Oh, you
Does the
definitely
Lube
make
and
it happen.
Sharon still have the bike night still as big as it used
No,
to be?
the actually the Lube and Sharon, they only do it once a month.
Okay. Austin
you know.
Town, do they do it once a week?
Austin Town is every week, and boy, we got to get Rama out there. Although they already booked the bands for this year, but
Yeah, I was talking to them about possibly next year
yeah,
doing some stuff.
and you know, I mean, bike nights aren't never going to be the way that they used to be. I
No.
mean, back in the day with Smoke and
Oh
Bill
man,
at the Lube, and you know, when it was 3,000 bikes and 4,000 bikes, and
we used to raffle a Harley off every year
Yeah.
with Youngstown. You know, Tom. Remember
Yeah.
Tom Ronkovich?
yeah.
What was the guy? I can't. He looked like Santa Claus with the white beard. He used to.
Oh,
Harry George.
No,
No, not
this is the
Harry
guy that worked for Bike Town.
Oh,
Oh,
I can't think. Anyway, he'd come in, we'd sell tickets, and they had the bike there in the corner, and we sold a lot of Harley tickets there.
Yeah, you know, well, first of all, the bike community is getting older.
Yeah,
that's number one. And you don't see a lot of younger people out there aren't like, you know, when I was growing up, everybody wanted a motorcycle. Oh, I got to get a motorcycle. I got to get a mini bike. I got to get a dirt bike. I got to get it.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
they got a phone. They get their phones.
Yeah. It's like, you know, and plus it's been a lot more dangerous out there anymore. You know, it's, you know, people just are not paying attention.
Right.
And it's not just for motorcycles. I saw this thing where construction workers, 72 construction workers with ODOT got hit so far this year.
Wow. That's insane. You know? That's crazy.
People just aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
You know,
but
the bike scene isn't like it used to be. Now it's still out there, but it's definitely not like it used to be.
Yeah.
But what is, you know, that's what I always say.
Right.
What's like it used to be.
The night we used to give the motorcycle away, we'd pull a ticket. We'd put the motorcycle. It was always at the Sunrise up on this wooden thing. So I had it on stage. I didn't like where it was. Well, I'm not a motorcycle guy.
Right.
I try to move this thing. I'm like, holy shit. I almost drives. Guys, come and give me a hand because I was pulling. I had no idea. Harley weighed. I don't even know. It was heavy. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how guys.
They're very heavy.
Don't, you know.
And see, that's the thing too. You know, I mean, a lot of these guys are getting older. They're either going to trikes or, well, for instance, we used to have, you know, the Vietnam Vets Riders Group, you know, and, you know, 15 years ago, they were a big group, you know, but now these guys are all old. Half of them died off, you know, everybody's getting old. They got a bad hip. They got this, they got that, you know, and it's not like it used to be.
Dalton was his name. His name
was
Dalton. Yeah, okay. I don't ask me where that just came from.
Yeah, good one.
Good guy, man. Just like, that was I don't think Tommy's not there anymore.
No,
right?
I don't think.
Yeah, they put the bar in over there. And,
yeah. It's a nice place.
Oh,
you know, well, that's the thing about Thursday night there too. I mean, what really makes it nice, and it's always, and it's, you know, the Lube in Austintown is nice too. You don't necessarily have to ride to have a good time. So you got the Biker Brew House over there. They usually got a guy with a guitar or something. And you got us over there with the maestro, the mic, of course, handling the festivities.
The microphone.
Yeah.
it's got to flow.
Yeah.
The maestro, the microphone.
Right.
I'm going to get some t-shirts made.
You got it, yeah.
Ready?
Exactly.
So then, you know, and then we have our bands and we do our bike games and everything. But that's one of the few places where you really have, you know, a whole area like that where you have a whole block and, you know, you got decent food and everything.
Big parking, nice big parking, nice space.
I'll tell you what goes good too is their car cruise on Sunday at the Lube.
They do them every week too?
Yeah, that's been going really good.
For them.
But you know what? That's the whole thing. We want everything to go good, man. We want, you know, it's all about having fun. That's what we're there for, you know?
I truly think things are coming back though. You know, after COVID, after COVID, it really is starting to, at least I see it in the, you know, the bands, you know, bands are getting booked. More places are having bands, you know, so it's a great thing.
Because the casinos have taken a lot of the bands and quite frankly, we're competing against casinos and has driven the prices up.
Yeah. That's one thing.
But it's tough, but you know, like Frankie Valli played at Ruth Eckerd Hall down in Florida forever. The Seminole Hard Rock, they offered him twice as much money and then they took it.
Yeah.
They even named the street. It's called Frankie Valli Way going into Ruth Eckerd.
Jeez.
But I mean, bands are more in demand because the casinos.
Well, the casinos, they hurt you because, you know, like probably like even a guy, if he was still around like Eddie Money, there was probably a time when Eddie Money would be a Robbins Theater, Conneaut Lake Park, whatever. And now these people, because they don't really have to worry about selling tickets and the beer, they just throw money out there to have somebody come in because the machines are feeding them. So
I claim the average person loses $300 when they go to see a show. So if you even break even on a show or even lose a little bit, you win on the other. You know. So we have tickets. Cornell told me about a band called St. Paul and the Broken Bones. You ever heard of them?
Yeah, they're playing at Northfield Park.
Yeah, so I think I got tickets. And we might want. I've never been to the rock scene, you know, the rock scene before. So, but I'm looking for a band to replace Southside because, you know, for me that was, you know, I like John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. That's good. Yeah. You know, I got to tell you, a nice event, and Cornell hosted it was Little Steven or Miami Steve, you know, Van Zandt. Boy, that was a great
and
event.
the lecture or whatever.
Oh wow, it was
Q&A and all
much
that
more than I expected, you know.
Yeah. We need more stuff like that.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to tell you, that was really
that
really
was
something.
good. So, what are some of your favorite bands, Rama? Even growing up, and
oh, geez. Well, you asked me about my first concert.
Yeah. And that was about an hour ago. I'm glad you still remember that. Yeah, an hour ago we did mention that, and we were headed in that direction.
And that band's no longer in the same.
Well,
no.
It's really strange because, well, first of all, I was fortunate enough when I was young playing fiddle that I got to play with some, like, the first big band that I ever got to play with was the Mandrell sisters.
Oh, wow.
Barbara Mandrell. You know, remember in Salem, they used to have Ponderosa Bar.
Oh, you kidding me? That was amazing.
So for 2 or 3 summers when I was like 12, 13, 14, I would go out there and they would let me like be the first act, you know, and then sometimes the acts would ask me to, you know, Gatlin Brothers. I got to play with. So those were really the first shows that I saw. The first concert I went to, believe it or not, was Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Back in the 80s. But you know, the bands that I grew up with, everything from Waylon Jennings to Van Halen to, you know, ZZ Top and pretty much everything in between. And that's what really kind of molded me as a musician, you know, is listening to all those different people and styles of music, and then, you know, trying to get your own style out there. That's really, you know, what it was all about. So
you take a little bit of here, a little bit of
bit from here, a little bit from there. And you know, you were talking about music nowadays, and I had a thought. Music now. And I'm talking even like AI generated music. I don't know if anybody, if you've ever heard any of the AI stuff.
How would you know? So, you know, I'm trying to say.
To the trained ear, you can kind of, but let me tell you, it's getting really, really good. But I think where people are, and I think that why these kids are starting to latch on to the 70s music, the 80s music is too perfect nowadays. You know what I mean? Everything has to be exactly lined. I mean, I'm in the studio all the time. You know, and when we're recording, I'm super lucky. I'm working at Court Street Recording, which is in Canfield, and the guy that owns it used to be a producer at Sony in Nashville. Oh, wow. So, I mean, he has years and years of experience. He started out as an engineer at Sony. He recorded every major country artist in the 90s and 2000s. And our big thing is we don't want it perfect. You know what I mean? And that's what I think people love about the 70s music and the 80s music. It's not perfect. Not everything is lined up, and it's not the same beat, and the music flows and it goes up and down. And sometimes you can hear the musicians make a mistake. To me, that's what makes it real. And I think that that's why the kids nowadays like that. Maybe they don't like everything that's perfect and lined up. And,
so give me an example. I mean? Is there anything out there like on the radio that's AI gen? How would you? Would you listen to something like that? Because I don't know.
You can go on YouTube and you can listen to all kinds of AI. And listen, I've listened to classically generated AI music. You know, it's all out there, and you can listen to it. And like I said, if you have a trained ear, you know, like you've been in music forever, you'd be able to spot it, right?
Yes.
But I'm telling you, 5-6 months from now, it's going to get to the point, you know, where, and bands are actually using it to write songs.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that either. I'm like, if you can't sit down with an instrument or, you know, and write a song or sing a song, you know, not necessarily an instrument, then, you know, it's, to me, I don't know how valid that is.
Now see, my hope is that people are going to be smart enough to see that, you know, if you notice a lot of the AI stuff that's like generated on Facebook, you know, you can tell those AI videos, or you get these ones, it'll be like, it'll tell a story about somebody or whatever. It'll go Bruce Springsteen,
right?
But just the way that it's written, you can tell it's like, okay, first off, nobody talks like that,
right?
And then you start noticing the certain pattern of how it is and what they're saying, and the way they say it, and it's not like It's not natural. You can
Yeah.
tell, and the more you see it, the more obvious it is.
And like I get these cooking things, and instead of calling it like oregano, it goes oregano, and they're reading and I'm like, okay, well this is fake, and I guess I didn't realize what was going on until you start paying attention.
Yeah, that's the AI
well,
stuff.
I'll tell you what though, some of the like animation and stuff, like the little babies that they do the movie clips from, and it'll be like the Sopranos, but there'll be little babies. And,
it looks real.
Yeah. And or you know what the first ones that really looked real out there were like they would have like a post-game conference with an athlete or Mike Tomlin or something, and it would look real. I mean, it's Mike Tomlin, and now see, you got it. There's certain ways, there's if you look really close, like how the stuff is, like maybe around the mouth, or the eyes don't move properly, or the background seems askew. There's ways to tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, those look so real that it would be like, Mike Tomlin would be like cussing up a storm and, if Antonio Brown can't get his ass up there, he's nothing but a punk. And, when we play the Cleveland Browns, those sorry losers, they could do this and that. And they start cussing and everything and dropping F-bombs. And
it's in its infancy. Imagine when they really, it's going to be, it's going to be scary because politically you're not going to know who's telling, they can make all this stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody. And, it's going to be, I think it's going to be.
I mean, what if they posted something on there and they're saying it's Trump or whatever, and he's saying all this stuff, and maybe it's like, how do you know? I mean, it's really dangerous.
I also come from the tech world too. I own my own business and we do a lot of website stuff.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. But I also do marketing. Like I have a real job, and and I do tech for a large law firm, and their whole thing is it's something you have to learn, or you're going to be left behind. Unfortunately,
yes.
It's a train.
Do you know what I mean?
A runaway train.
And when you hear these people say, right now we're in the infancy, like you said, which there's really three kinds of AI. And the very infancy is it's just generative AI. We feed it information, it spits it back out to us in another way, but once we get to the point where they're talking about super AI, thinks for itself, can mimic human, whatever. I don't know how far away we are from that, but I see it all entertainment now. Like you're saying, those videos on Facebook or just music in general. They're starting to do movies with AI now.
Yeah. Like look at the movie Alto Nights. You've seen, that's the worst movie ever. You've seen Alto Nights?
I haven't.
De Niro plays Frank Costello and Vito Genovese.
Oh, I heard about this.
And he played both. First of all, to me, it's a dumb premise. He's playing both gangsters.
Yeah.
But they're using this AI, and it's like you say, it's almost kind of too perfect, and it's not believable.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and if I like a movie, we'll watch it a bunch of.
Right.
Once was kind of funny.
we were talking. Well, Joe was talking about that too. Because he's really high tech. And I mean, now they got computers that could talk to each other in their own language that we don't even understand. Oh. They make up their own language, and the computers talk back and forth in a language that you don't even know.
That's going to be dangerous.
Very dangerous.
I mean, that's why sometimes I hear, they're worried about some of the stupidest stuff as far as I'm concerned. They're worried about changing the names of forts or that and DIE. I mean, nobody's talking about robotics and nobody's talking about AI. I mean, this has the potential of really screwing a lot of things up. And I don't think these people have a handle on it. We had talked about this before, not to get political or whatever, but when they let Elon Musk in those computers, who knows what that guy was doing?
Right.
He invented all this stuff. His brain is so far out there. Oh, who knows what in the world could he be doing?
Right.
Right. And because there's so much out there that, just the fact that all the stuff that he developed is like.
Well, they started the new, what's it called? Waymo. They started the new driving cars. There's a trial.
Yeah.
Waymo. That's him, right?
Yeah, Waymo.
They started that. The stock was up like crazy this morning. It was all over the place because everything going on. But that's a big thing, I
mean, what's this going to do with jobs somewhere down the road? I mean,
Hey, how about if you have a parking lot? If you own parking lots and you summon a car, it picks you up, drops you off like at a concert. Then you have it pick you up. There's not parking a car somewhere. You're not parking your car somewhere. So,
I mean, it's crazy. You know, those are people's jobs in robotics, and what are we going to do with jobs?
Definitely in the next 5 years. Right. Yeah, no, definitely in the next 5 years, you're going to see, you know, because I was thinking about it too. You know, are DJs going to be, or are they just going to be program it to go song to song?
Oh yeah.
You know, as far as music goes, you know, people who create music for commercials or, you know, stock music producers.
That's why they're buying these. Like, when's the last time you heard a jingle that somebody wrote? They buy all these music libraries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's no more Charlie Harpers. You know what I mean?
All these people create all this stuff with what they call sample libraries. And I know Freddie knows what that is.
Yeah.
You know, those jobs are going to be on.
Tell me what a sample library is. I don't know what that is.
Well, they'll have like just a keyboard thing, you know,
right.
Almost like what you used to do with the Casio thing, you know?
Right.
And they go ding, 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 or whatever, and they just have a drum beat.
Right. They'll have a drum beat. They'll play the drums on here. Then they'll go to this instrument. They'll play it on. Like it's all sampled instruments.
Yeah.
Instead of people actually recording live instruments in the
you can do a whole thing
studio.
just from one keyboard.
You can,
right?
Absolutely.
That's pretty sad, really.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And,
you know, well, somebody did a thing online not too long ago, and they were showing how a lot of these country songs out there, these modern country songs, it's all the same music bed and stuff, and they were showing how all these different lyrics and stuff would fit right in there. How it was the same thing, different song. And then maybe they just added a banjo just to go ding, ding, ding.
There's no more Johnny Cash, is there, or anything like that?
If after this, I'll give you guys, but there's two websites. One's called Udio, UDIO, and the other one's called Suno, SUNO. And you can literally just put a prompt in there. Country song, female singer, topic is this in the style of Dolly Parton. It will create an entire song for you, just an entire song, and it sounds pretty close to being real.
Yeah,
you know.
Hey, let's see who's out here.
Yeah.
The Hogs is checking in. He said he was at the Sunrise the other night, and great eats. Our buddy Dave's checking in. He says hi, Fred. Jesse says Rama is going to get an AI haircut soon. How do you get your hair so perfect?
You look like the guy from Rascal. I'm sure
everybody tells me
what's
that.
I don't know his name. Billy.
Look at that. I look at Rama and I go, I got all this stuff here just going every which way. His beard is just all over the place. I look at Rama and I'm just like,
shit, I'd take all the hair you guys got. I got nothing left over here. I would love to have all that goddamn
what is your
hair.
care routine?
It's just trained this way. Like it just I wake up and it goes and it's there.
Yeah,
so there it is.
Right. That's the AI haircut.
Let me do a shout out real quick. Jesse is he cuts my hair. He's also a great musician. He also started a new venue. Have you heard of Rock Bottom yet?
No.
I just saw that on there. I didn't know what that meant.
Rock Bottom. Yeah, Rock Bottom. It's a club. It's in the bottom of a church. You know, there's no alcohol or anything like that. But he gets all of these original bands to come in. He'll have 3 bands a night. So he's doing something really, really good too for the music industry.
And where's that at?
I'll have to.
He's on there. He can just put it on there.
Jesse, put on there.
Yeah, where are you at?
Yeah, come on, Jesse.
Ask him if they sell altar wine. If it's in a church, you got to sell altar
wine. I don't think he does.
Sunrise has the best Monterey chicken pizza with bacon.
Thank you, Kieran.
Yeah.
Hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, you are. So what's your favorite on the menu at the
Briar?
Sunrise?
I still love our bar pizza, the Briar Hill. You know, I can get once in a while. I love our spinach. That's my grandmother's recipe, the spinach pizza. It's got like 5 cheeses in it, and I put hot sauce on it. But when it really comes down to it, I like the Briar Hill with the peppers and the Romano and the
can't go wrong.
Oh, okay. Meridian Road.
Yes.
Oh, the Crossroads Church.
Crossroads.
Oh, it's Rob.
Sorry,
Jesse.
Rob
Kale. Good guy.
Hey, you know what?
Jesse says I am AI.
Your buddy here too. Ron.
Oh yeah. Let me absolutely. I definitely got to do this. So, actually, it's a husband and wife owned business. It's a woman owned business, but Sarah and Sal, and he owns Ace Hole 3D printing.
Ace Hole.
Ace Hole.
ACE.
ACE. It's a great name, Ace Hole. But
But he's a good guy. He's not an asshole.
He's
right?
not. He's not. He's a really good guy. Yeah, he actually created these coasters for here at the Youngstown studio. I don't know if everybody can see that, but
yeah, let's see. Yeah,
there's that. And then he also made you some.
Yeah,
they're right over there on that chair. If you want to check it out. Yeah, he's trying to get his business off the ground. He's doing a lot of coasters for the bars. He's doing drink chips for them. But he does a lot of different things. You can see
I like the way
you see that.
Yeah,
this is all printed. By the way,
do some River Rock ones. We could sell these,
Yeah, I will give you his card.
Let's see. Where am I at?
Where are you at there? But yeah,
you could hold these up. My camera angle.
Yeah.
These are what we call kickstand plates here. So when you ride your motorcycle and say you're on a gravel or you're on some grass or it's a hot day and your kickstand might sink into the pavement.
You just put this on there,
right?
Put your kickstand on it.
And we put the kickstand on there, and it holds the bike up better. And he's got one that says Harley, but look at the Y103.
Yeah, he made these Y103 ones for you.
That is really sweet, man. So I really got to get in touch with him. And think about that.
And Youngstown, these are really, it's nice, man. I like the way it's he has nice packaging here.
Yeah,
fits real nice. It's, every coasters are sitting all over the place on the table.
He made me coasters that look exactly like my sticker here. So the Rajma stickers, he made me coasters like that. But you can.
Oh, that's nice for a bar too when you're playing out somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You probably need on there one of those little codes too. The
QR code.
So if you look on the bottom, he actually does right there
on the back.
See right there, Freddie.
Yeah, but he's telling he means you though on your sticker.
Oh, on my sticker, I do need that. Yeah,
but you know what? I hate to mess with that though because the sticker just looks very cool.
Yeah, but putting on the back. Yeah. Maybe you can fit it into your logo.
Could possibly do
that.
Not
that I know how to do that.
Hey, you know what else? This is cut out. This is like cut out. This is the
laser laser cut.
Laser cut. The same with this Harley one. Man, the way that thing pops out.
Look at that.
That is
how cool is that?
That is some really cool.
So you can find him on Etsy. He sells on Etsy under Ace Hole 3D printing. Check him out. Everybody out there.
That's a cool name too.
He's got a ton of products out there. Listen, he makes us stuff all the time. Me and my wife stuff all the time. He'll bring it over, be like, "Hey, check this out. Do you like it? Should I sell it?" All of his stuff is, and it's really quality stuff.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
You know what?
Really quality stuff.
This is like.
So it's actually a 3D printer that, I've seen it. I've seen videos of them like that, right?
He's started this. It's in his home, in his office. He's got 3 big 3D printers going constantly printing stuff. I'm just trying to promote him because he's a nice guy, and again, he's got quality stuff.
So what I'm asking, does it actually make the printer make the whole thing, or just does the printing?
No, it makes the whole thing.
Okay.
So it starts off, it does it in layers.
Okay.
And that's how, and then it feeds in different colors. Wow. And that's how
it's really well done.
It's really, it really is. So,
wow.
All right, Sal, I hope you're watching.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you some business.
But it's a great idea, great product.
It is. It really, really is.
Yeah, that is some really cool stuff. Cindy Fisher checking in. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Jesse David checking in. Who else we got on there we haven't mentioned here yet? I don't know. So anyways, what about you, Ken? What were some of your first concerts or early concert experiences?
Well, the first album I ever bought was Houses of the Holy with Led Zeppelin. And I didn't even know who Led Zeppelin was.
Nice.
We had a Murphy's Mart in our backyard. I didn't have a stereo, and I was watching, I was making pizza, washing dishes. I remember walking through the woods with like a stereo that had like the 8-track, the turntable on top of the thing, and Led Zeppelin. But I loved Kiss. I saw Springsteen at Richfield Coliseum on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that was a legendary show.
And I guess at the time you don't realize I saw Queen there, and I didn't even know who Freddie Mercury was. Saw Kiss a couple times there. My buddy and I, who's passed, we were best friends in high school, Steve Kovach. We used to go follow Southside. We saw him in Asbury Park.
Wow.
Now look at this concert. Jay Giles Band, Southside Johnny. It was at the Erie County Fieldhouse. Probably for like $8 or $10.
Yeah.
It was music, like that. There was so many of those bands back then. Like Peter Wolf was just touring until he would go to the Kent stage, But now I think he's done.
Yeah.
He got to be like, I think he was like a little bit of a germaphobe or something. But
yeah, I'll tell you, man, the Jay Giles band used to be a party band. And there's a band that hasn't even been mentioned for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what I want to bring up today, too, since we're talking about that? I saw where Mick Ralphs, the guitar player for Bad Company, and
he passed away.
And for Mott the Hoople, passed away. He was 81. The guy has been sick. And Bad Company just now gets voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Just now.
You know what? We put all these rappers in there. We put Dolly Parton in there.
Yeah.
We put Janet Jackson. And we've got real rockers that were a part of the rock scene. And the poor guy didn't even get a chance to get his due.
Right.
That doesn't make any, I keep following this and they keep. Have you ever seen, I think it was the guy from Rush that did the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You ever seen, that is the funniest thing. And it's probably the most memorable because it was so unique. But there's so many bands, like you say, that should be. And I like Dolly Parton, don't get me wrong, but Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, maybe.
Or, like some of these rappers that they put in over Bad Company.
Yeah.
And so here's this guy, that was sick for 10 years. And, another one of these guys that had that passion, that drive. Music was his life. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it have been nice if he could have got up there and them guys could have played Bad Company or something, one song, one last song, for everybody. And, I'll tell you another guy we had down at the Robbins that kind of got screwed over was Lou Gramm. Boy, what they did with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
did to him, that was bad.
He was another one that they should have been in 15 years before.
I didn't know he was Greek.
Oh, I didn't know that.
His last name is like Grammaticos. He's Greek. He's from, I think he's from New York or something. And I'm reading that. I'm like, wow, sure. And then I started looking at him. He had the nose and all that. But his health's a little shaky. But you're right. They did some.
They wouldn't let him play, and then they wouldn't let the rest of the band play, and they had to be backup singers and all this stuff. And it was really kind of low as to how they treated him.
Yeah, it was some dumb shit. It really was
and that's
dumb.
The same thing. I saw that today, and I'm going, man, this guy was just getting in there. He's 81 years old. He should have been in there 20 years ago.
Is Paul Rogers still alive from Bad Company?
Yeah.
That
guy could still sing.
Now, we just announced today, we just announced the orchestra. Well, you know this probably at the Robbins. It's ELO's orchestra. ELO 1 and 2's orchestra is going to be at the Robbins. I just thought of that one.
I'll tell you, that last show I saw
it too. Were you there?
Just the one in Cleveland?
Yes.
I went to Pittsburgh.
I went to Pittsburgh.
That was a great show. Yeah, I did see you there.
That was a great show.
How good was that?
Oh, man.
You know what? Jeff Lynne was so good. It's the song sounded like they were brand new. They had so much life to them.
You think it was him singing though, or was it?
Oh yeah, it was definitely him singing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
No, because
he's no spring chicken, right? He's got to be.
That was his last. That was his last tour.
Yeah.
Because he has onset dementia.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, unfortunately. So they kind of announced that was his last. I'm so glad I got to see it.
Me too. I mean,
didn't know that.
Well, you know what? See, that's the thing. Some people now think, oh, are they really playing or whatever? You want to play, right? You want to come out there and you want to have 3 cello players and you want to have a guy on the keyboards and you want to have a piano player and you want to have a rhythm guy and you want to bring that to sound the best that it possibly can live. That's the whole idea.
He's 77 years old.
It is.
Jeff Lynne.
Right? And right? You want
to. And listen, no auto-tune, please. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that is why people still go see these older acts.
Yeah, they're the
because
real deal.
they know they're getting real music and real talent up there. And I'm not saying all of the new bands don't do that. There are some new bands that I really love and they come out there and they bring it like a lot. Like
give me an example. Give me one. Tell us one.
So Mammoth, WVH, Eddie Van Halen's son.
The
most
Wolfie,
talented,
right?
Wolfgang Van Halen, so talented. He plays every instrument on the album and sings it. There's another band called Dirty Honey. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Oh yeah,
they're a 4-piece. They're like straight out of 1977. They come out and they just rock you. I mean, there are some really great bands. Oh, there are some really
younger,
great,
huh?
Yeah, there are some really great bands out there. But listen, I can't in the studio. We have 2 rules, which is no more than 4 takes and no auto tune. Okay. Because no more than 4 takes keeps it real.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And of course, no auto tune. If it's a little bit out out of key, that's what makes it real to me.
Yep.
What was the
So-
other band you said? Dirty Honey. What
Dirty
was the other one?
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Yeah, and
Mammoth.
you're talking about that kind of stuff. There's interviews out there with like Joe Walsh and other people and Tom Petty, and they say the same thing that you're saying too. That's the problem, is that it's not real music and it's not real people all playing together. And, you look at that guy and you could see, and you know all the stuff that goes into it when you're playing live.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There has to be a connection, with the people that you're playing with. You have to actually listen and to everybody around you to make it sound good. If everybody just went on stage and did their own thing, that would never work. Where you have to be in tune with each other. The guys that I've been playing with, Butch from Special Forces, we've been together with him almost 30 years now.
Right.
We kind of know exactly what each other's going to do, so that's what makes it special. And I think that's what people want to see. That's what brings people out.
Yep, exactly.
We went and saw McCartney in Pittsburgh about, 10, 12 years. He was amazing. He played every instrument. He was piano, the guitar. I think he played the drums, whatever else he played. But his energy level for 3 hours was amazing.
Oh, yeah, Bruce Springsteen's another one too.
But
the E Street Band is so good. You want to talk about guys that play with each other, and they're playing off of each other and everything,
And the thing that struck me about that concert was I was looking around, and there was people from 8 years old to 80. Everybody knew the songs. I was blown away. Like everybody, you got an 8, 10-year-old kid singing Obla Di Obla. I'm like, wow, it was just really, I was just surprised, I guess, that kids that age, but that's music. That music's now 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
Let it be.
Think
about that. And it's
60
still
years old, and we still listen to it. And we still like it.
Yeah.
I always think about the Beatles too, because I was really, from day one, I was just so into the Beatles. The Beatles were like, and the impact that they have had on society and the world and the music industry. How could 4 guys just it would boggle your mind to think you were a part of that, you know?
And
and then you see Paul McCartney is just so down to earth, and he's like a regular guy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but in your mind, something has to go like, or do you just sit there and go, what the hell did we do?
How many musicians have you seen in interviews said, I wouldn't be playing if it weren't for the Beatles?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're more than you could possibly count.
And I saw a documentary with George Harrison, and he made it was actual live where he said, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go back and cut hair. He was like, I'm thinking they had no idea the magnitude of everything. At the Robbins, did you see that band? It was called the Carl Baldassare Orchestra. Were you there that night?
No, but I heard it was really good.
It blew me away. I didn't know. I hadn't seen him, but he had a string section, and I actually videoed it. The Eleanor Rigby was off the that was a great show, but I just think he's older. But it's the band's too new. Yeah. But I think it will get that critical mass. It was really that good. Yeah. It really was. Oh my God! It was.
Boy, to think about what the Beatles accomplished and everything and style.
In such a short amount of time.
Yeah. And they were all singers. They were all songwriters. They were all movie stars. They were all actors. They were everything.
So did Yoko break up the Beatles, or was it just that time where they were going off on their own?
I don't think so.
No, you know what? I think they got tired of being fab.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that funny though? And you're in the music business, so you realize these guys see things in a different light than us. You know?
Oh yeah.
They looked at that and go, if I have to come in here with Paul McCartney and play one more Beatles song, I'm gonna go freaking nuts.
Well, when we had ZZ Top at Stambaugh, and it was 2018. I said to the guy, Billy,
Gibbons.
Yeah. I said, how do you guys stay together so long? He said, you see the 3 buses out there? We all got our own bus. They hang out on their bus. They come in, they eat, they play, and then they're gone. So, a little bit, you can have too much togetherness, I guess, with that,
Yeah. Now, even on your level, like, keeping bands together and stuff. You've been pretty good though.
Listen, I'm probably one of the luckiest musicians in town, because for the past, I don't even want to say, for the past 35 years, I've only really had 3 bands total, but two main bands, Graphic Pink and Triple Threat. Right. We we did a thing 5 Live that was a great band. It just didn't last, and not because of anything, but just couldn't book it. But that is always it's always a thing that I talk to musicians about. It's really hard to get a group together and agree, just agree, right? And not only agree, but then chemistry. Absolutely.
That's the big one.
And not only chemistry in personalities, chemistry in playing music together, because that's really hard to find. You know what I mean? And I've been super lucky. Listen, Triple Threat, this is our 27th year.
Really?
We've been together 27 years.
I didn't know that.
And
time is flying by. So
I know.
It's scary, Freddie. It's scary.
And I'm every gig that we play, I'm grateful because
You're doing something you love.
And I'm doing it with people that I love.
Yeah, that's
so. Our drummer Gary, Gary from Special Forces,
yep.
he had a little medical thing, so he's been out. But Carmen from the house band has been gracious enough to do the shows, and I mean Carmen just slid right in. You know what I mean? Him and Butch and Gary are just 3 of the greatest guys I've ever played with, and I don't mean that to be facetious. I mean that truly.
Yeah, no, you have done great on that over the years, because some of these guys you talk to about
they hate each other. Oh my God, it's
this
awful.
guy starts banging the drummer's girlfriend, and and all kind of crazy.
How about
stuff,
George Harrison and Eric Clapton? Who was it?
Yeah. Patty Boyd.
Yeah, so Clapton fell in love with Harrison's wife, right?
Yeah.
I was,
Layla.
And they stayed perfect friends.
Is that what that's about?
The song Layla.
Yeah.
Was it about Patty Boyd?
My Guitar Gently Weeps too.
Yeah.
I never knew. I never knew that.
Songs written about her. She's like this rock and roll muse. If you look her up and read about her, she has this this wild story, man. I don't know what she got, but she got something.
She should sound well.
And then George Harrison and Eric Clapton remained good friends after that.
That's
right.
You know what? Maybe George was just happy, like, I'm so glad somebody came and took her off my hands. I didn't have the nerve to dump her, but thank you. I really appreciate that. I owe you one, buddy.
You never
can
know.
Get on a Beatles song with me. Come on.
Oh, that's funny.
But I mean, she's like this rock and roll muse. There's just something about her.
And there's been so many good documentaries on like HBO and all these stations about. There's one something about the volcano. It's about. George Martin had a big recording studio in Montserrat. And I will have to find it. But, like Buffett would, one night, like Stevie Wonder was there, and the guy called the bar and said, hey, stay open because we got some guy. I mean, they had like Buffett, Stevie Wonder, Sting. They all go there. And it's really a cool, you got to watch it because a lot of guys recorded their albums there because George Martin from the Beatles.
Well, yeah, I mean, those documentaries are so good. And now
they have the footage.
Wait, let's say hi to some more people here. Dave Childer said his first concert was Paul McCartney and Wings in '76. Prince always said real music by real musicians and no Memorex. Yeah, all them guys, man. Joe Walsh, all the real guys, they all feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay, Bad 18 and Noisy Mama. Yeah, we remember both of those, folks.
Eddie Money.
Eddie Money at Till College, that'd be something.
He was a New York policeman. Did you know that? His name was Eddie Mahoney.
Yes, I did know that.
A buddy of mine, a bunch of the guys from the South Side, he would, when he played at the Tomorrow Club, he'd wear his policeman's uniform.
Oh, really?
And my buddies were out in the back smoking a joint with him in his policeman's uniform at one point.
Oh my God!
Back in the Tomorrow Club, he was another one of them guys, man. Eddie Money was a good guy.
He really was. And he was here a lot. And Eddie Panuti, him and Eddie Panuti were tight. So Eddie promoted him a lot,
Yeah. Connie Out Lake Park and a few other places.
Oh, God. He had him at the Amp one
B&B backstage.
Yep.
Eddie Money has played around here 5 million times.
He has. But I love this music.
Oh, yeah. He's just one of them guys. It's just good time, fun music.
And we were just getting ready to sign him at the theater because we had just opened the Robbins and then he got sick, So
I opened up for him at the Magic Twanger. You remember that show at the Magic Twanger?
Yeah.
It was in the band Graphic Pink. I got to shout out to those guys. Mark Terabassi, he was on earlier. Again, another band together 7-8 years. Never really had any conflict with those guys either. But I remember we opened up for Eddie Money at the Magic Twanger. We were backstage hanging out with him, and he's just down to earth, nicest guy in the world. You know what I mean? But he just he would just tell these jokes, and then he would punch Mark in the shoulder. He would tell his joke, and he'd punch Mark. And Mark is just going like this. He's just like trying not to like say anything, like, you know, like, hey, I'm the drummer, and I got to use my arm. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
It was funny because
he was great.
Eddie Money did that one commercial for maybe Geico. It was 2 tickets to Paradise. Remember?
Yes, I did. Remember
his
that.
price after that, his price went up like 10 grand because people knew who, you know, not that people didn't know,
right,
but he
but all of
opened
a
up a
sudden
whole
a
nother market.
resurgence. Yeah, you know,
Everybody sees him like, geez, this commercial's killing us over here.
Yeah.
I will say that after COVID, you know, with Wolfstock, usually not this year, but in past years, I've had to actually get the bands, right? So, you know, we hired Red Wanting Blue and the Clarks and that kind of stuff. And it's it's after COVID, all the prices went up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All the prices went up.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming the bands, you know, the mark, you know, their management companies and that kind of stuff. But I can see they're probably just trying to make back some of the money that they lost during COVID at that point. But
plus all the expenses for everybody has gone up. Like our insurance costs for insuring acts is more. Hotels.
Oh yeah.
Everything, you know, we do the catering, so that's not a big deal. But the expenses have really gone crazy. So you raise your ticket price a little bit, you know, to try to recoup it. But let me tell you what's hurt. We've noticed is now they have this all-in ticket price thing. You know what I'm talking about? So people would say, I'm using a number. They'd buy a ticket for $35. They'd go to the cart. The fee was, you say $7. Okay, they do it. Now when they see the new price all in, we see people falling off and not buying the ticket. So it's actually, it's still the same price.
Right.
But it's a different way that's being done. And
you know, some people like it better that way. Me personally, I like it better that way, especially if you buy tickets off of StubHub or whatever. And then all of a sudden you see a ticket on there, $29. And then it's $25, $30 in service charges, you know, and you're like,
but it's affecting sales. It really is.
Nosebleed ticket thinking I'm getting
exactly.
It's really affecting sales, though. We're noticing it. You know? So it's too bad.
You never know.
But
well, guys, you're about ready to wrap it up. I think we 2.5, 3 hours here. I think is enough. Of,
is that normal? Is that about a normal show?
I don't know.
Without any booze and alcohol too. This one really
pretty
good.
good.
That's a rarity there. But you know, I don't have that cakey white stuff in the corner of my mouth, and you know, I'm still coherent. Hey, remember this? You know.
Well,
so we didn't have any of that, so I think we must have made it through. So, any plugs you got to get in?
This weekend, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
This weekend we have Escape and Best of Times at the Amp, which is they're great. So yeah, this Saturday I think it's $12-13. I'm not sure. It's truly a great show. 6 hours of music. Hopefully the weather's good. It's been so screwed up. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming to the robinstheater.com, Sunrise Inn.
Yep. What more
all
do you say
that.
about
So yeah, things thank God are okay, you know.
Yeah.
So
sounds good.
One local thing. The local media has been incredible for us. They really support everything. The people, the customers, whether they're coming to a concert or at the restaurant are wonderful. So thank you everybody for your support, because without that, we got nothing.
Right.
Now I'm not the maestro of the microphone.
No, there's only one. There's only one.
Fast Freddie.
Well, I don't know that. I thought there was only one, but as the show went on, there was about 10 or 11 of them, man.
We are Triple Threat. If you want to find out where we're playing, we put a lot on Facebook. Just look up Triple Threat Rocks. You'll find us, because there's a lot of triple threats out there.
Is there?
Yeah. And then of course, you know, if you're interested in any of my stuff, it's Rajma. It's spelled Rajma. That throws a lot of people off. I get it. I have a website. It's actually just raj.ma. So you could check it out there. Also, Triple Threat will be at Geneva on the 4th of July.
Oh, I have to come up.
Yeah, from 2. We're playing the 2 to 6 slot, so we're early.
Yeah.
You know, that way.
Which one are they?
It's that one right there.
Okay,
that one right there.
We're at
we're going to be at Sportsters.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 to 6, and then
I gotta come up and see that. I love Geneva on the Lake.
Oh yeah,
I've loved Geneva on the Lake since I was a little kid.
They have done a great job with that over the last, I don't know, you know, they've really cleaned it up. A lot of families. It's just really, it's really a nice place.
It is, man.
And then of course, don't forget Packard Music Hall,
Wolfstock.
August 9th, Wolfstock. Dennis Drummond's coming up from Nashville again this year to play with us. The after we get done, Fantastic Cat is going to play. There are 3 tiers of tickets this year. So you can actually buy a ticket for dinner, which you're going to get dinner, and then also to see the bands. And then there's another tier where you can just buy to see the music, and then we're also going to sell the tiers up in the balcony.
That's nice.
So there's 3 different prices. You know, if you don't want the dinner, you just want to come see the music, you can do that as well. For Wolfstock this year, all proceeds, as you said, go to the local animal charities in the valley.
That's great.
And
you know,
and Sue likes to help out, you know, some of these smaller ones that you know
Yes.
don't have the big fundraising efforts or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to help out the animals. So it's really a good cause.
if you go to steelvalleywolfstock.org, we actually put on there like the different charities that we've helped, so you can actually see what Sue has done.
That sounds great,
That's
man.
great. And local folks, support local music, because it's the lifeblood, you know, of the music industry. It's in clubs, bars, anybody, you know. It's an ecosystem.
It is.
Sound companies, you know, people working, and
then your ushers, your bartenders, your ticket takers.
There's a whole ecosystem. There's a whole
everybody.
And not only that, people go out, like say the Robins especially, people go out to eat before a show. So when you get people coming our way, you know, you notice a 20% bump on a show night. So it really makes a difference for a lot of businesses and a lot of employment. And you get to have a good time and enjoy some good music.
And
so
you know, and the thing
what's
about
wrong
Ken,
with
too,
it?
is he supports Warren in general. He doesn't care if you go to one place or the other.
I don't.
You know, and
as long as you're in downtown Warren.
Yep.
And that was our goal, you know, when we took over the Marty. You know Marty Cohen? Marty, you know, we took it over because Walt had passed away. And we wanted to bring, you know, he had Mickey's Army Navy with Sunrise, and downtown was really not doing well.
Right.
So that was the goal, and it's really, and we have no empties. There's no empty storefronts in downtown Warren right now.
That's great. Yeah, which is great.
It's
which
nice,
is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
That's you and everybody else putting in some great effort.
Yep.
So, guys, I hope you had some fun hanging out with me today.
Thank you.
Not everybody gets a chance to hang out with the maestro, the microphone.
See,
That's right.
I like that.
It's a rare occasion. It's a big treat for a lot of people. You know, it doesn't
I better
always-
give a little credit like when he does T-shirts and merchandise.
Right.
Freddie, that
Little
could be a
kickback.
merchandise line.
We'll get
The
we'll
maestro
get
of the microphone.
We'll get you some coasters there.
Yes,
Yeah,
Freddie Woke.
And then I'll know I'm really the maestro when I get my own coaster.
Let's get ready.
I'm close. I got the
got
kickstand
the
plate, but
kickstand.
it's not really a coaster. You know?
No, thank you so much
Well,
for doing this, Freddie.
Guys, thank you, man.
Thank
It's
you.
always a
Freddie,
great
it was
time.
nice. Thanks for
Rama,
having me.
anytime you could come by, you know
Absolutely.
you guys are always welcome.
Thank
and
you.
Thank
we'll be
you.
This is
seeing
a
each
great.
other
This
out
is a
there.
great space.
It
too.
is.
I gotta
Dan,
tell
hey,
you.
thank
It's
you,
amazing.
man.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yep. So I guess that's it. We're ready
All
to
right.
wrap it up. I still got a little bit of work to do. I'll catch you tomorrow afternoon, 3:00, Y103.
You don't mean by that bottle over there. That's not the work you have to do there, right? That bottle.
No, you know what? Like I say, we stayed away from it.
neglected that. Yeah.
Yeah. But we didn't need it. We had good conversation, and
That's right.
you know, nobody here was at a loss for words.
No.
That's for sure.
It was really nice, and
It was
I gotta get your information.
Absolutely, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We
Ken
probably
said,
could.
Well,
Yeah.
You think we could go 3 hours?
Well, I've
If you want
I've
to,
watched
Ken.
the podcast before, but I've never really. I don't know if
From
I've watched the
beginning
whole
to
thing.
end.
You
Right.
know?
Right.
But it's really cool.
It is.
There
All
we
right.
go. Well, thanks, guys, for coming out, and we'll definitely be seeing each other here very soon, somewhere down the road. And what more can I say?
All right.
Thank you,
No,
thank
thanks,
you, Joe.
Freddie.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
Freddie.
you, Mike. Thank you,
before
Maestro.
I forget, Wednesday night, wet t-shirt contest at Yankee Lake.
Okay.
And Thursday, I'll be over at Quaker Steak and Lube in Austin Town.
Okay.
Saturday, we have a memorial to Harry George.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be at the Dash Inn from 2 to 5.
Okay.
Oh, and we're going to be doing a blessing of the bikes with the Youngstown Diocese earlier in the day at Calvary Cemetery.
Okay.
Wow.
So we're going to do that
That's
earlier
different.
in the day. Then we're going to go to the Dash. And then Sunday, it's the Teddy Foltz Memorial Bike Run. And of course, Teddy was a victim of child abuse,
Ooh.
and we keep his memory alive. And we raise a lot of money for the Sojourn House. And you know,
So you
to
have
help-
nothing going on in the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
So other than that, and I have a regular job. Oh, that's right.
And you do it well. You really do.
I got other stuff to do.
You
So,
really do.
anyways, that's what's happening, guys. We'll see you out there somewhere.
All right.
Thanks, Joe, for all the help and
right.
Sunrise, everything. Rama, we'll see you out there. And
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
See you later.
Take it easy.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for your support.